What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 10DF Chapter 241 Shi Shangyang and Terumi Mei marry, please subscribe. Goji Yagura's expression changed, and she looked at Shi Shangyang in surprise, as if she didn't expect Shi Shangyang to have such an idea, and actually let him continue to manage Miss Shinobi, although he has not yet agreed to Shi Shangyang's request, but just from a point of view, Shi Shangyang's gas is larger than expected. Is it a surprise? Shi Shangyang asked with a smile. Citrus Yagura nodded, but did not speak. Shi Shangyang took a sip of wine, then smiled and said, I'm not interested in the country of water, I'm only interested in your population. You can't make everyone live and work in peace and contentment, and you can't make people play. Showing my own potential does not mean that others can't do it, it just happens that I can do it. 35. Then he pointed to himself, then pointed to Yagura, Terumi Mei, and finally stroked the field with his hand, saying, I, you, and them, everyone present, everyone in Tien Village, all the 063 people in the country of water, including all ordinary people in the ninja world, are precious human resources. Since they are precious, they should not be wasted on boring battles. This is internal friction, but you just don't see it. Through this, or because of the limitations of your identity, you cannot see and think about it. And all you can think of is that you will always use ninjutsu to strengthen yourself, and use plunder to strengthen yourself, but you have never thought about creating. Even if it is limited creation, you will only focus on the pursuit of greater destruction. Powerful ninjutsu, rather than putting it in a bigger and broader place. Shi Shangyang said with a sneer on his face. Even if I say this, you still don't understand it, and you may even think that I'm talking empty-handed and talking big, but you never thought about it. And the revolution I'm about to set off in the ninja world is yours. Deathlock, only by becoming my companion can you seize the opportunity. If you become my enemy, you will be abandoned by the future. Now, do you think you will be my companion? 35. The voice was loud, but it was like thunder when it landed in Yagura's ears. Since yesterday, in several conversations with Shi Shangyang, Yagura is always surprised by Shi Shangyang's words. Until now, he can fully understand what Shi Shangyang is thinking. What surprised him most was that the other party's line of sight was never placed in the small pool of ninja world from beginning to end. The other party's line of sight was always on the vast starry sky above his head. As the leader of the same village, it was not until this moment that Yagura really realized the gap between himself and the other party, and this gap made him feel shocked and frustrated. Goji Yagura took a sip of wine, then raised his head suddenly, stared at Shi Shangyang, and said solemnly, Are you sure you can achieve the result you said? It's not like no one has said similar things about the transformation of the ninja world, but no one has ever done it, not even Senju Hashirama, the god of ninjas who ended troubled times. Why are you? Shi Shangyang grinned. Because I am Shi Shangyang, I have a vision and cognition that surpasses all of you. I don't have your narrow vision. What I see is the answer. Advertisement, huh? 35. The wolf orange Yagura raised the glass and raised it towards Shi Shangyang with a solemn expression. Then, I'm looking forward to seeing the scene you're talking about. The corner of Shi Shangyang's mouth twitched. Can I think that you agreed to my conditions? The wolf orange Yagura drank the wine in the glass, did not nod or shake his head, but looked towards the field and said calmly, It doesn't matter whether I promise or not, what matters is how you want to control the country of water. You must know, even with Kirigakure, I'm not alone in everything. Shi Shangyang also raised his glass, drank the wine, and said with a smile, This kind of thing is not difficult at all. With you, Mizukage, as an internal coordinator, if you want to change the pattern of Miss Shinobi and the land of water, it is actually very easy to do. Arrive. Any plans? Yagura asked. In fact, before he came to this banquet, he already had the answer in his heart. For the sake of the country of water and Kirigakure, he actually has no choice. If someone or a force chooses to resort to force against Miss Shinobi, he will choose to resist no matter what, but Shi Shangyang's approach gives him no way out and luck. And what Shi Shangyang said, and everything Tien Jamura saw, had already pointed the way for him, and he knew very well that if Shi Shangyang wanted to, he could indeed change the country of water and make the whole country of water a better place, rich. This is exactly the same as his ideal, so in fact, even if Shi Shangyang is persecuted, he already has an inclination in his heart, and he knows what his final choice is. What he just said, he can only make up his own mind. Just a decision. Instead of bringing war to the land of water and Miss Shinobi, it is better to believe Shi Shangyang once. If the other party can really do what he said, then what does it matter if he is Miss Shinobi's Mizukage? Don't worry, in order to achieve the goal, I have actually made 3 sets of plans. I am very fortunate that you can make the right choice, so next, the country of water will also enter a period of rapid development. I have a complete plan, covering all aspects. I will tell you how to do it later. Shi Shangyang said. Citrus Yagura let out a long breath, as if spitting out all the pressure in his heart, and nodded silently. Advertisement. Shi Shangyang glanced at Terumi Mei next to him, smiled a little strangely and said, In order to make you feel at ease, I will marry Miss Terumi Mei as my wife. This is my attitude towards you. I hope you can understand me. Purpose. Yagura held up the wine glass with a wave of her hand, as if she was very surprised that Shi Shangyang would make such a decision. She first looked at Shi Shangyang, and then looked at Terumi Mei, who had a sluggish face. Her mood improved inexplicably, and her face also changed. Bring a smile. Is that so? I understand. Zhengji is like this sometimes, there are entanglements of interests, deterrence by force, and sometimes compromises. Shi Shangyang has done both of the first two, then the third one is his compromise to the land of water or Kirigakure, which is also a guarantee. This kind of marriage is very common in the ninja world, especially in the aristocratic class. It can be said that it runs through the history of the entire ninja world, and it is precisely the marriage that can comfort people the most. 3.1. Hey, you B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** finally came back to her senses, her face blushed undetectable, and she immediately refuted. Shi Shangyang smiled and said, "It doesn't matter, the relationship can be cultivated slowly, and I am really lucky to meet Miss Terumi Mei at the best age. B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Even if you say so, I won't agree. When Terumi Mei said this, she felt a little lack of confidence, then she turned her head and stopped looking at Shi Shangyang, but her earlobes were a little red. Hee, Yugura-kun, let's have a drink together. 35. Shi Shangyang invited Yugura to raise a glass, the two of them toasted lightly, finished drinking the wine at the same time, and then looked at each other and smiled. Everything was silent. Chapter 242 The 5 Elements of Chasing Women, for subscription. Neither of them are Zhengji animals, but as the leaders of their respective villages, their methods of Zhengji are naturally not bad, so what Shi Shangyang's proposal represents, the two sides are well aware of what it means, and there is no need to say it clearly. It was at this moment that Yugura was truly relieved, and all his doubts about Shi Shangyang were dissipated. Although he would not immediately restore his previous perception of Shi Shangyang, at least it was clear that what Shi Shangyang promised was serious, so he doesn't have to worry anymore. As for the marriage, how to marry, whether Terumi Mei is willing or not, he doesn't care at all, because this is the matter of Shi Shangyang and Terumi Mei. Since Shi Shangyang has made such a promise, then he must do it. Otherwise, follow-up it is impossible for the two sides to truly communicate with each other, and all cooperation will become empty talk. Therefore, in this way, Yugura found that his mood was inexplicably much better. After making the most difficult choice, people would indeed become very relaxed, and now there is Shi Shangyang's promise, but Yugura made the most difficult choice. I don't think things are as bad as expected. The change in one's mentality is only in the next year, and now Yugura is like this. On the contrary, 14 is very interested in watching Terumi Mei and Shi Shangyang, and there is a sense of pleasure in watching a play. Terumi Mei stopped the whole process, and naturally understood that the two had reached an agreement, but what made her a little hard to accept was that the condition of the agreement to make Miss Shinobi feel at ease was actually herself. As a powerful female ninja, especially a single woman, and a woman of high status among Miss Shinobi, she never imagined that this would happen to herself. Even the family she came from is one of the famous ninja clans, and it is not uncommon for marriages in the clan, but with her ability and status, she has always had her own subjective will when it comes to choosing a mate, even if it is within the clan. The elders are also unable to decide and intervene. But now she's panicking, because from any point of view, she doesn't seem to have a choice. On one side is the threat and pressure brought by Shi Shangyang and the village of Tien, and on the other side is the powerful opportunity of Miss Shinobi. In both cases, she instantly realized the mood before Yugura, the feeling of having no choice. Anxiety and unease are now filling her heart. Ask yourself, do you hate Shi Shangyang? I can't say I hate it, but I really don't have much affection, just because this guy deceived her, and the identity of Yoichiro Itoto deceived her affection, and then the contrast after revealing his true identity made her feel very uncomfortable. But the identity of the leader of TNG village, coupled with the novelty of TNG village's strong Yamato, gave her a little admiration for Shi Shangyang, which was a complicated feeling. Advertisement women appreciate strong men, and they also like strong men, and no matter from which perspective, Shi Shangyang is one of the best, and it is undoubtedly a very proud thing to be his wife. However, her perception of Shi Shangyang is not very good. In addition, marriage is not her personal will, and she has no choice in this situation, so the senses become more complicated. So much so that now she doesn't know how she should look at each other. Shi Shangyang doesn't care about these things. He has said before that he is a very rational and calculating person. The character development before the time travel, plus the experience before the time travel, and the special mentality of being a time traveler, made him in the ninja world, but he didn't care much about the so-called love. This kind of thing, in the first love after the end, Shi Shangyang has seen it thoroughly. Although Shi Shangyang before the time traveled was just an ordinary person, he still had rich emotional experience. He knew what love was and what the ultimate destination of love was. In his opinion, the best relationship between husband and wife is to embrace each other, respect each other like a guest, vigorous or whatever is not important at all. It is a certain sentence, and it will completely ruin a relationship. This is all from his experience. Couples who can do these two things are perfect in Shi Shangyang's view. All the marriages with Terumi Mei, although full of compromising Zhengji means, but who can be sure that such a relationship will not become a real husband and wife in the end. As for Terumi Mei's seeming disapproval, Shi Shangyang wasn't worried at all. What do women see when they choose men? It's just right, these 5 elements Shi Shangyang are very complete. It seems that Panin is hard to say, but Shi Shangyang's appearance is definitely not bad, very handsome. Don't say anything about donkeys, that thing is foul. Advertisement Deng is Shi Shangyang's previous Han Dynasty rich man Deng Tong. This means that Shi Shangyang is rich, but Shi Shangyang lacks money. There is no shortage at all, not to mention that he has as much money as he wants, but the master controls the entire TNG village. Wealth, that's not a problem at all. Small means careful care, which Shi Shangyang thinks is not a big problem. In terms of emotional experience, it is still possible to handle a girl like Terumi Mei. Xian naturally means that he has time to accompany women. Speaking of this, Shi Shangyang is not worried, he arranges the time completely by himself. So the 5 elements are complete, even if Terumi Mei is not very willing now, but in the end Shi Shangyang can be sure that this girl can't escape his palm. Logically, Shi Shangyang arranged an identity for him in the Heavenly Organization, which was the identity he had prepared in advance. The title was Mirror, which just matched his ninjutsu characteristics. Shi Shangyang shrugged. I can eliminate the war, but I can't eliminate the contradiction between people, but I can let the law constrain all of this. 100% peace itself is a false proposition. I will not be stupid enough to even this can't tell at all. Shi Shangyang didn't say anything to Terumi Mei right away, but chatted with Yugura cheerfully in a low voice. The latter's heart opened, and 080 simply let go now, and discussed the follow-up with Shi Shangyang. Shi Shangyang just smiled and said, so, don't doubt my determination. Compared to the short-term peace that Senju Hashirama achieved by subduing the ninja world with personal force, what I want to establish is real peace, which is true peace. Peace in which people can communicate normally is peace without war. I didn't expect it to be like this. Now I understand why TNG-kun can develop to this level. You started from the Third Ninja War, but you have already started planning and planning. This foresight is really impressive. Admire. Please subscribe. Citrus Yugura nodded slightly and said nothing more. Does that kind of peace really exist? Yugura, who was used to seeing the current situation in the ninja world, asked rhetorically. Knowing the specific information of the Sky Organization from Shi Shangyang's narration, Yugura sighed slightly. Chapter 243 Terumi Mei was pinched. Please subscribe. It is impossible to explain the follow-up things clearly at a banquet, so the next time, the two just exchanged opinions on some simple things, and the appearance of chatting and laughing made the people present see that the two have a good relationship. Therefore, the overall atmosphere of the banquet gradually became stronger, and the subordinates who came with Yugura gradually let go. Here they felt the enthusiasm of the host, and with Yugura taking the lead, the spirits of these mist shinobi ninjas were relaxed, and they were not as vigilant as when they came. At the end of the banquet, the host and guests enjoyed themselves. The only person who was unhappy during the whole process was probably Terumi Mei. She has been immersed in her own thinking, and her mind is full of random thoughts. It is really too important for her to marry. After all, it is related to her entire life in the future. After the banquet was over, she couldn't wait to communicate with Yugura and expressed her opinion. I know your resistance to this kind of thing. If I were you, I would do the same. But you have to remember one thing. You are Mist Shinobi's ninja. Don't say anything for the sake of the village, but you should also know. So what does this marriage mean to the village? Yugura said. Terumi Mei gritted her teeth slightly, and it was because of this that she was unwilling. Her feelings for Mist Shinobi are sincere, and she can give her life for the village. This is the moment she became a ninja. She had the self-consciousness. But, asking her to dedicate her lifelong happiness to the village is another matter. Women are sentimental in this regard, especially a female ninja who is also a master of powerful power, and she is even less willing to accept such a fate. Yuju Yugura said again, or, you can try to get in touch with Shi Shangyang first. Some exchanges will always make you understand him, and it is always better than if you were just cranky. Do you think so? Terumi Mei gritted her teeth and said, sure enough, Mizukage-sama, do you also want me to agree to a marriage? Yugura shook his head and sighed. I can't give you an answer to this kind of thing. You already have the answer in your heart, so don't ask me. Advertisement, hateful. Terumi Mei had no opinion on Yugura, but after hearing him say that, he had a bigger opinion on Shi Shangyang. When I was about to say something, a subordinate came to report that there was a gift from Mr. Yoichiro Tato outside, for Miss Terumi Mei. Terumi Mei was about to refuse when she heard this, but Yugura said directly, bring in the gift. Terumi Mei snorted when she heard the words, but didn't say anything about refusal. There were also 2 women who came with the gift. They were service staff, and one of them said, Sir Terumi Mei, these are 10 sets of clothes that the leader has customized for you. They are all the latest styles this season. Let's try them on for you. If there is something inappropriate, we can take it back and revise it for you. The gift is 10 sets of clothes, including clothes and skirts, as well as all kinds of beautiful shoes and accessories. In short, any woman who comes here can't help but take a second look. Terumi Mei is no exception. In fact, as soon as the clothes, accessories and shoes are taken out, she is attracted. There is no other reason, but it is too eye-catching. As a woman and a woman who loves beauty, she simply cannot escape the attraction of this kind of thing, but she still turned her head. Sir Terumi Mei, this is a letter from the leader. One of them took out a letter and handed it to Terumi Mei, who took it subconsciously, and then remembered that he should have rejected it, but after accepting it, he simply opened it and took a look. The letter is not long, only a few sentences. The general meaning is, girl, your appearance is very beautiful, very attractive, I am very rare at first sight and so on. In general, Shi Shangyang's attitude is shown. In short, it's a beautiful girl, and she wants to take a dip. Of course, the actual expression is naturally not so superficial, but the text is embellished, and the expression is very subtle at the same time, just enough to make Terumi Mei feel his heart, but keep a certain distance. Shi Shangyang is very familiar with this aspect, naturally know how to grasp. No, Terumi Mei's face turned red involuntarily after reading the letter. Seeing this, Yagura left quietly and closed the door before leaving. When the two waitresses saw this, one of them hurriedly said, "The leader hopes that you can admire the glory tomorrow, and he wants to invite you to walk in the village. These clothes are specially prepared for you by the adults, and I hope you can wear them tomorrow." Advertisement, HMPH, I don't need it, you take these things back. Terumi Mei still refused. Strange to say, Terumi Mei is very beautiful, but in Kirigakure no one has ever pursued her. Generally speaking, her status is too high and her power is too strong, so that her peers in Kirigakure dare not approach her. Shi Shangyang generally knew this, so to deal with this inexperienced girl, there was only one method to use, and that was entanglement. Of course, it wasn't him who came to pester him, but let the two waitresses help him. Hearing her say this, the expressions of the two women changed, and they were very uneasy. Yes, but in this case, our mission here will fail. Moreover, these are all custom-made clothes. All returned clothes in our store will be directly destroyed. These 10 sets of clothes, plus 3 million taels, plus these shoes and accessories, the total value is more than 1 million taels, it would be a pity to return it. What? Terumi Mei was shocked. Ninjas are a very lucrative profession. The commissions for performing tasks are very rich, especially for high-level tasks. The exhaustion is even more rewarding. Of course, it is also accompanied by more powerful dangers. But the value of these 10 sets of clothes and shoe accessories also exceeded the commissions of the 3S rank missions, which did not surprise her. Inexplicably, she also felt that it was a bit of a waste, so she couldn't help but look at it 2 more times, and just these 2 glances made her a little bit unable to look away. The 2 women who came here are both senior service personnel who are good at observing words, and immediately took off a set of clothes. This dress is really suitable for your skin. I believe you will definitely look bright after wearing it, so please try it on. Give it a try. If you don't like it, then withdraw it at that time. It's better than pushing it away without trying it. You say yes. Seeing the stitches, Terumi Mei started to try it in such a confused way, and then she couldn't stop. I have to say that all the things Shi Shangyang arranged were precisely to pinpoint Terumi Mei's beauty as a woman. This try-on immediately made her feel the pleasure of women in this area, and then she was confused and forgot to reject it. Matter. Seeing this, the 2 waitresses looked at each other secretly, and then smiled slightly, knowing that there would be no more problems with this task. Chapter 244 Public Opinion Fermentation. Please subscribe. Many people in Tianjiguo now know one thing. It seems that the village intends to join forces with Kirigakure, the country of water. This is something that has been decided by the upper echelons of the village. It is just that the whole village has not been disclosed yet, but there are already many people. I have seen Mizukage and his group, so this matter is a certainty. Because of this, the villagers of TNG village have also become interested in this matter in the past 2 days, and their attention has increased, and many people are talking about this matter. On the 3rd day, a new hotspot was talked about by people, and it was very surprising. Yeah, have you heard? The leader is more than just uniting with Kirigakure, the land of water. Really? What did you hear again? Street corners, restaurants, shopping malls, similar conversations occur from time to time, and the things discussed are also related to the leader. I heard that a friend of mine who was working as a ninja escort said that it seems that Taito-sama wants to marry a ninja from Kirigakure, and I also heard that the ninja is very beautiful. 35. It's true or false? Don't talk nonsense. That is the leader. It's not a good thing to arrange the leader, although the leader never cares about this, but if you say too much, others will despise you. 35. Shout. How could it be fake? This is what my friend said. Do you know what my friend is doing? He is in charge of guarding the high-level people, and he is a senior ninja, but he is much stronger than us half-assed. You're not lying, are you? Is there really such a thing? Of course, many people are saying that the female ninja was fascinated by the leader, and the leader fell in love with her the first time he saw her. 39. How could it be possible? How could someone like the leader be fooled by a woman casually? Let me see, this must be a marriage. Since you want to join forces with Miss Shinobi, then marrying a Miss Shinobi ninja as his wife must be a good idea. The choice to appease people, if it is me, I will do the same, provided that the female ninja also has a status in Miss Shinobi. Another interjected. Marriage? Does this kind of thing happen in Tien Village? Advertisement, why not? Isn't that the case in the ninja world? How could Tien Village be spared? 35. What you said makes sense, but I believe this is true love. After all, that is the leader. How could it be possible to create a village as powerful as BEDB? There are many similar discussions, and no one knows who released the news, but the detailed description makes it easy to believe. On the bustling commercial street, there are 2 people standing side by side, a man and a woman. The man is tall and handsome, and the woman is young and beautiful. The 2 are none other than Shi Shangyang and Terumi Mei. Shi Shangyang didn't wear Taito Yangichiro's vest, but showed his true face. Perhaps because the vest was too famous, not many people in the city knew his true face, which also allowed him to use it in private. True Face heard a more authentic voice in the village. He was dressed casually today, wearing very ordinary clothes, but he couldn't hide the high-ranking temperament on him. Standing there was a feeling that it was difficult for people to approach. And the woman beside him was none other than Terumi Mei. Her face seemed a little reluctant, but being here also showed her attitude. She is wearing a dress. Just by looking at the fabric and workmanship, she knows that it is not cheap, and it reflects her delicate figure vividly, and she also specially made a hairstyle. The long bangs that covered half of her face in the past were tied around her ears. Afterwards, her delicate and pretty face was revealed, with delicate pendants on her earlobes. She looked extremely beautiful no matter what angle she looked at it. Shi Shangyang smiled and said, "Thank you Miss Terumi Mei for coming over today. I'll let you go about work first. Today I'll show you around the city, even if I know Tianji-kun in advance." Humph. Terumi Mei snorted lightly and turned her little head aside, not giving Shi Shangyang a good look. In fact, it wasn't her original intention to come here, and she didn't even want to accept Shi Shangyang's gifts at first, but she forgot to refuse, and then she accepted the invitation reluctantly. But she didn't know what was wrong, but after she was really with Shi Shangyang, her heartbeat quickened inexplicably. The atmosphere between the two was a little awkward, but Shi Shangyang didn't seem to notice it, wandering around the commercial street, introducing Terumi Mei to the famous shops he knew. Advertisement. Perhaps it was because the popularity of the marriage between the leader and the other village ninja was so high that many people were talking about it on the street, and the commercial street was the most lively place in TNG village, and the people were very dense. It fell into Terumi Mei's ears, and immediately made his cheeks red. Seemingly aware of Terumi Mei's inner complaint, Shi Shangyang smiled. "I didn't spread this kind of thing out, don't wrong me." "HMPH, who would it be if it weren't for you?" Terumi Mei snorted lightly, and instead of looking at Shi Shangyang, she focused her attention on the beautiful clothes behind the window. Shi Shangyang followed the mature urban planning he knew before crossing the road, and set up several commercial streets in TNG village. This is just one of them. It is very prosperous on weekdays, because he is very clear that consumption drives the prosperity of the city. It is a powerful means, and such a retail industry is an intuitive means that is convenient for thousands of households, and it is indispensable. There are similar streets in other villages, but they are not as comprehensive as here, and they are not as rich in variety of goods as here. Even a woman like Terumi Mei is equally eye-opening. And this kind of talk also fell into the ears of Miss Shinobi and his party, and Yagura, the citrus orange, smiled slightly, looking at the city scenery outside the window of the residence, leaving a back with a deep hidden merit and fame. Shi Shangyang's smile doesn't change. When chasing girls, patience is very important, so he said, "Yes, but it is always better to get to know each other first. I am very satisfied with Miss Terumi Mei. How do you feel about me? Please subscribe." The question was very direct. Terumi Mei didn't know how to answer for a while, so she could only snort and said no more. "So don't be angry about this kind of news, you will get used to it slowly," said 35 Shi Shangyang. Wen Yan. Shi Shangyang chuckled lightly. "I don't know about this, don't doubt. I have issued a seal order to my subordinates, and the news will definitely not be spread from my side. As for who spread it out. In fact, it is also very easy to check, but this kind of thing, everyone knows it, and there is nothing to hide from the outside world, do you think?" "I didn't agree," Terumi Mei said. Because of this, Shi Shangyang put the date here. Terumi Mei turned her face to the side, and her pretty face turned even redder. The 245th chapter of the Water Country Plan begins. Please subscribe. Shi Shangyang, the chief office of Tien Village, met 3 young children here, 2 boys and 1 girl, namely Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Sharingan and Hyuga and Tree. Seeing the 3 children standing in front of him, Shi Shangyang smiled slightly and said, "Don't be nervous, I called you here this time because I have something to inform you." "What's the matter, Master Chief?" The one who spoke was Vortex Shanglan. Among the 3 children, she was the only one who was the most open to Shi Shangyang. First, because she was a disciple of Orochimaru, she was also a student of Shi Shangyang, and because of her own personality, be regarded as the head of the 3 children. Compared with her, the Hyuga and the Tree on the side are well behaved. Although the Hyuga family in Tanokura no longer has the restrictions of caged bird, some of the rules of the wealthy ninja are still inherited. This kid showed it. The other is Uchiha Sasuke, who was born from Shi Shangyang's experiment. He is completely insane, doesn't care much about external things, and his interpersonal relationships are in a mess. If it weren't for the company of 2 companions who grew up together, it is estimated that he will be more lonely. These 3 children have special identities, and they are also the best among their peers in the village, except for Uzumaki Sharingan. The other 2 have not many friends, so the 3 children are a small group. There will also be a squad. I called you here this time because I plan to let you study at Miss Shinobi for 2 years. Your parents have already been informed about this, so you need to prepare for the next 2 days, and you will leave with the guests of Miss Shinobi in a few days. Shi Shangyang rode. Uchiha Sasuke and Hyuga Kazuki didn't change their expressions after hearing the words, but Uzumaki Kanon's eyes widened. "Ah, why, Master Chief, wouldn't it be better to send someone else to do this kind of thing? Why would it be us?" Shi Shangyang said, "Because you are considered the best among your peers in the village. If you go to study abroad, you are tasked with showing the strength and potential of the village. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir." Hyuga and Shu responded, elbowing the vortex incense at the same time, motioning her not to say anything else. Uchiha Sasuke continued to wander the world. Advertisement. What do you think, Sasuke? Shi Shangyang asked. Uchiha Sasuke came back to his senses and said with a flat expression, I see. Shi Shangyang nodded, then said with a serious look, when you return from studying abroad, you can almost start experiments that you are interested in, but there is a little prohibition. You can't try experiments about death, understand? Uchiha Sasuke finally had a different reaction, frowned slightly, and nodded after a moment of silence. Okay. Shi Shangyang is somewhat helpless to Uchiha Sasuke, because of his background. Shi Shangyang pays more attention to him than other children, but as time goes by, he realizes that this child is really indifferent in terms of emotions. The performance is different from that of ordinary children, as if they were born with a missing piece in this respect. But neither Shi Shangyang nor Orochimaru detected any problems from him. No matter his body structure or his own development, he was consistent with his peers, which also became a problem that troubled Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru. Because of the inability to conduct a deeper experimental examination on the child, both of them could not draw conclusions and could only pay more attention. But in other respects, Uchiha Sasuke's behavior is quite normal, and his emotional indifference is only to others, and he is more normal to Nohara Rin, who raised him. Because of this, Shi Shangyang doesn't understand what is going on in this child. What's the problem? In terms of potential, this child is a true genius. Even if he is only 6 or 7 years old now, he already has a chakra that surpasses the level of ordinary chunin. The talent in combat, or intuition, is also very scary. It seems that this child is born in existence, born to fight is normal. Among the three, Shi Shangyang is most concerned about this child, and he doesn't know what this child will be like or what achievements he will have. This kind of worry about the younger generation is still quite novel in Shi Shangyang's opinion. It even made him feel that he was getting old before he knew it. You still have a few days left. You don't have to go to the ninja school for a few days. Stay at home and get ready. You will be staying with Miss Shinobi for the next 2 years, Shi Shangyang said. Yes, boss. Hyuga and the tree answered again, very politely. Uzumaki Shangrin pouted, but still said, I know, Master Chief. Uchiha Sasuke's response was still cold. Advertisement. Shi Shangyang added. I have already arranged the accompanying guards. All of them are powerful ninjas in your respective families. They will take on the responsibility of protecting your safety in the future, and they will also be responsible for part of your daily life tasks. At some point you need to follow their orders, understand? 5. Katakana middle. Katakana middle. Ask for flowers. Katakana middle. Katakana middle. The three responded one by one. Shi Shangyang nodded when he saw it, and without saying anything, he led them back. A week later, today is the day when the guests of Miss Shinobi leave. Shi Shangyang, as the head of the village, naturally has to come to see him off. One of Miss Shinobi's group stayed, and it was none other than Terumi Mei. For a week, the relationship between Shi Shangyang and Terumi Mei developed very generally, mainly because Terumi Mei still had some resistance to Shi Shangyang, but it was not as strong as it was at the beginning, and the relationship between the two was normal. Yes, but not a couple. 0. Shi Shangyang didn't care about this. Anyway, he had a lot of time, and what he showed was only his own attitude, which was shown to Miss Shinobi and his party, and also reassured Yagura. To this end, Yagura, the tangerine orange, can be regarded as reciprocating. As Mizukage, Terumi Mei is arranged to stay in Tien village and act as a liaison between the two parties. Even if Terumi Mei was reluctant, she could only accept this task and honestly stayed. All in all, Shi Shangyang's purpose of inviting Miss Shinobi and his party was achieved, and he successfully persuaded Yagura. Both of them are very aware that the relationship between the two at this stage is still not bright, so the follow-up plans are mostly secretly enjoying themselves. The citrus tangerine Yagura is just for fun. As for how far it can be done, Yagura doesn't know, but Shi Shangyang knows it well. In fact, the plan has already started when Yagura promised. There are also 3 children of Uzumaki Karen, who need to go to Miss Shinobi to study abroad for 2 years there. In addition, each of them has 3 ninja teams sent by their respective families. The 3 belong to Uchiha, Hyuga and Vortex. The clan naturally has support in this regard. Uchiha Sasuke's identity is somewhat special. He is considered to be the native Uchiha of Tien village, but he is accepted by the Uchiha clan, and his identity is equivalent to the son of the patriarch of the Uchiha clan. This time arranging the accompanying guards is the order issued by Uchiha Fugaku. It can be seen that his emphasis on Uchiha Sasuke. Chapter 246. The information on the shelter of Hyuga is exposed. Please subscribe. Time has passed, the plan of the Land of Water has been implemented, and with the cooperation of Yagura, there will be no problems. From the very beginning, Shi Shangyang did not intend to use force against the country of water, so he chose to do it secretly, just like controlling other small countries, first infiltrating from the economic aspect, mastering all aspects of the small country, and then in its own country. Send your own people to develop the power, and then gradually grow, until the power in the hands of the big name is overridden, and a little bit of all-round control is carried out. Those small countries that are now mastered by the land of the land, except the country of opening rain is too special, other small countries are basically the same. Among these small countries, the daimyo has become the nominal ruler, but in fact the power in the hands of these daimyo has long been overridden, and even these daimyo are not even aware of this status quo. It's all from Shi Shangyang. The land of water is different. Because of the cooperation of Yagura, the economic aspect has been completely controlled by the master of Tien village. Whether it is people's livelihood or other aspects, it has been quietly controlled. Then there is the ninja aspect. From Mist Shinobi and Tien Nomura to befriend, the two sides signed an alliance agreement on the bright side. The ninjas of the two villages will regularly go to each other's villages to communicate. There are many things that can be operated. For example, the ninjas of Mist Shinobi will receive special training after they come to Tien village. This training is mainly used to deepen the goodwill of these Mist Shinobi ninjas to Tien village. After a long time, this goodwill will gradually turn into recognition, and during this period, Yagura will also play a big role. There is a good way to go up and down. Yagura, citrus orange, intentionally or unintentionally showed a good impression and recognition of Tien Jikun, so the people below will naturally follow it for a long time. Shi Shangyang has long been skilled in this kind of attacking strategy. And the ninjas sent by Tien village to Mist Shinobi will show the strength of Tien village, and gradually give the people of Mist Shinobi a feeling of invincibility of Tien village. The image of being close to the people and being kind will, over time, deepen the Mist Shinobi people's goodwill towards Tien no village. All kinds of plans, all aspects of the arrangement are quite mature, even Mizukage is from Shi Shangyang. He really can't think of any other way for Mist Shinobi to escape from his palm. The implementation of the plan is very smooth. It can be said that it is progressing steadily, all it takes is time, and with the announcement of Mist Shinobi's alliance with Tien village, after the news spread, Tien village has no sense of existence in the ninja world in the past. The small ninja village gradually entered the sight of the major ninja villages. The task of the ninja is to investigate intelligence. The remaining 4 Dalton's ninja villages will naturally not miss the intelligence in this area, so more and more intelligence personnel enter the village to investigate, and this time, Shi Shangyang did not kill them all. Instead, let these people pass on the information about Tien village. Advertisement this time, almost everyone who got the information about TNG village was taken aback. In the ninja world, there is such a powerful ninja village, and they have no news at all before this. It is simply incredible. The 4 great ninja villages were very worried, and for this reason, they increased the acquisition of information about the village of Tien, and more ninjas entered the village of Tien. Shi Shangyang knew very well, he just let the village strengthen the defense in this area, and did not issue an order to kill the ninjas who were spying on intelligence, because at this stage, Tien Jamura should really stand in front of the stage, and even continue to hide, but will be detrimental to the development of TNG village. At the same time, on the other hand, as the other side of the alliance, Mist Shinobi also has a lot of other village intelligence personnel. Some are ninjas, some are ordinary people. Mist Shinobi is a lot worse than Tien Nomura's accuracy in this regard. Their methods are still primitive, so it is obvious that the information leaked. One of the most critical pieces of information leaked was the exchange program between Mist Shinobi and Tanokura. After an in-depth investigation, the identities of the international students were also found out, and even the guards who protected them were recognized. This time, it can be regarded as poking Konoha's hornet's nest. Hyuga and the tree, Uchiha Sasuke, the names of these 2 teenagers, were placed directly on Hokage's desk, together with the identity of the guards of the 2, who belonged to both Hyuga and Uchiha's ninja. The identity of the ninjas of the Hyuga family is a bit difficult to confirm, because when the Hyuga branch house defected before, the Hyuga clan did not fully inform the specific identities and names of these people, but the ninjas of the Uchiha family are all recorded. This comparison makes it obvious that the ninja identity of guarding Uchiha Sasuke is one of the many Uchiha ninjas who have defected from Konoha. Advertisement and Uchiha Sasuke and Hyuga Kazuki were born in the land of fields. In this case, individuals can analyze it. The Hyuga branch house and the Uchiha family who defected are all in the land of fields. This is unacceptable to Konoha, and Konoha immediately sent a notification to the country of Tien through official channels, asking them to hand over the defected ninjas of Konoha, otherwise it will incur severe punishment from Konoha and the country of fire. If Tien Jiguo was still a small country in the past, faced with this kind of request, he would basically kneel in minutes, but now that Tien Jiguo is in power with Shi Shangyang, how could he possibly agree to such a request? And he knew early on that there would be such a day, and even the appearance of this scene was caused by him. What he needs is deterrence, not nominal strength. Now, that's what happened in Hokage's office. If Tien Jiguo wants to gain a foothold in the world of ninja, a war is essential, otherwise he has a strong strength, but he is still easy to be despised, and then he is likely to face all kinds of harassment. That is not Shi Shangyang would like to see. Please subscribe, and if the weak is Cloud Shinobi, they will definitely declare war directly on Tien village, because they have warlike genes all over their bodies. Therefore, Shi Shangyang directly ordered, which refuted Konoha's request, and his attitude was extremely tough, and clearly told Konoha that it was impossible for Ri 3.1 Shang and Uchiha to hand over, because these 2 ninjas have now become a member of Tien village, protected by Tien village. If it was Sand Shinobi, 9 times out of 10, they would secretly attack Tien Nomura, because they are used to sneak attacks. If it's Rock Shinobi, they might get a group of wandering ninjas to harass Tanamura, because that's their habit. But the other party is Konoha. Since it is Konoha, it is destined to have some discussions before making a difficult decision, and the most insidious Danzo has been killed, and the Hokage family has become more cautious. Chapter 247 Konoha's Caution. Please subscribe. Has it been confirmed? In Konoha Hokage's office, Fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato frowned tightly and spoke in a solemn voice. In addition to him in the office, third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, the only surviving Konoha advisor Utatane Kaharu, Hyuga Heishi, the head of the Hyuga clan, and other extremely elders of the Hyuga clan, along with the other chiefs of the ninja clan in the village, all here at this time. Hearing fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato's question, an Anbu ninja below knelt on one knee and said, "Yes, we have been able to confirm that the information is correct. We people in Tien village have seen the defected Hyuga branch house several times. Members of the Uchiha clan appeared. In addition, we also found out that there are many people of the Uzumaki clan in the village of Tien, and they are also in the village of Tien." Obviously, this meeting was held to determine how to deal with this incident, which is a tradition of Konoha, a tradition that has survived in the Hokage line since the first Hokage Senju Pillar 14. It can't be said to be indecisive, it can only be said that it is too concerned about the head and the tail, and of course it can be said to be cautious, so there is still no decision. Namikaze Minato took a deep breath and asked third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen-sama, how was the situation of the Vortex clan? Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen took a puff of cigarette, and then slowly exhaled, and then said solemnly, "When the country of the Vortex was destroyed, the Uzumaki family was also destroyed, but many of them escaped and scattered throughout the ninja world. We Konoha only rescued Kushina at the beginning, and we also searched for the rest of the Vortex clan, but the effect was not good." Namikaze Minato nodded slightly when he heard the words, and then asked, "In this case, can the village bring back those Whirlpool people as well?" Sarutobi Hiruzen thought about it for a while, then nodded and said, "Based on the relationship between Konoha and the country of the Vortex, it is indeed no problem to take in the Uzumaki clan, but now I don't know if the Vortex clan people are willing to accept this condition." 35. This is indeed a problem. When the kingdom of Vortex was destroyed, Konoha didn't help much, but now the Uzumaki family, who had finally recovered their vigor, had to come to Konoha. This is obviously not so easy to do. At least people would like to. I don't want to say it twice. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato sighed slightly and changed the subject. Now that the situation has been identified, the village should also respond. Let's talk about how to deal with this matter. It's not that Namikaze Minato can't make a decision, but this matter is very important. Anything related to the ninja, even Hokage, has to be handled with care, otherwise it will easily arouse the resentment of other ninjas in the village. It is precisely because of this that other ninja clan chiefs in the village will be present at this meeting. After hearing what he said, everyone present was silent, but the Hyuga clan couldn't help it. One of the clan elders said, "Lord Hokage, we need to punish Tien Nomura so that they know the price of provoking Konoha. Otherwise, Konoha's reputation will become a joke." "Shut up!" Hyuga Heishi shouted, "Don't say such rude words, don't forget your identity, this kind of thing is up to Hokage-sama." "Yes, I was wrong, Lord Hokage." The Hyuga clan elder immediately admitted his mistake, and his attitude was sincere, but everyone present knew very well that the people who knew the Hyuga family had such an attitude was just to put pressure on the village. Speaking of which, the situation of the Hyuga family has not been very good in recent years. Because of the defection of the Hyuga branch house in the past few years, they had to open a hole in the family ninja and allow the branch house ninja to become an Anbu member, which is undoubtedly a gift for the Hyuga family. There is a lot of pressure. However, they have never given up the pursuit of those defecting branch houses, and the village has also helped in this regard, but they have found nothing after a few years, so that the latter village gave up their search, and they still persisted, but without the village's help, with the strength of their Hyuga clan alone, it is impossible to find any clues. That's it, the matter is finally over, but the conflict between the clan and the branch house in the family has been aggravated by this incident. The branch house's mission is to protect the clan, and now they have to send people to join Anbu. This is undoubtedly difficult for the branch house to accept, but it was suppressed by the Hyuga family, and the contradiction has become more prominent since then. Advertisement. Now, after finally finding a clue, the Hyuga clan is naturally impatient, and wants to make the branch houses who defected pay the price to deter the entire Hyuga branch house members, but they dare not force the village too much. After all, the entire Konoha is now in flames because of Uchiha's defection. If the Hyuga clan does something out of the ordinary at this time, they may become the target of the attack. At that time, it will be too late to regret it. Therefore, they showed a low profile enough, and used a move to retreat to advance, which can be regarded as expressing their attitude to the village, and they did not push themselves too hard, so that they have always been in the position of a victim. The rest of the people present stood on the sidelines, and they all knew what the Hyuga clan did. At this time, they were not good at expressing their position. However, when they put themselves in their shoes, these ninja people also understood the Hyuga clan's practices, and at the same time supported them. After all, they are both ninjas. If there are traitors in their own family, their situation may not be better than Hyuga. At this time, it is natural to hope that the 093 village can take action against Tien Jamura and catch those traitors back. It doesn't matter, you are also impatient, I can understand, but if you want to do something to Tien village, it is not so easy to do, Namikaze Minato said. After speaking, he took out some documents and asked Anbu Ninja to hand them over to everyone present, and then said, "Tien Nomura is not as weak as imagined, it can even be said to be very powerful, this is the latest information, everyone. Can see .35. The intelligence is based on the analysis of Tien Village, which focuses on the analysis of Tien Village's power composition, and roughly draws the conclusion that Tien Village has nearly 4,000 ninjas, and although the number of 4,000 ninjas is not as many as Konoha, but looking at the entire ninja world, it can also be called a big ninja village. In other words, Tien Nomura has the ability to compete with Konoha, so if he really uses force against Tien Nomura, Konoha's side is likely to fall into a hard fight, and in that case, it will undoubtedly give other great shinobi villages a chance. Maybe even the Fourth Ninja War will break out because of this. It was because of seeing this that Namikaze Minato was slow to make up his mind. Sure enough, after seeing this information, the expressions of the people present change, and their hearts were even more shocked. Chapter 248 Assassination of the Rebel Ninja Plan, please subscribe. This time, the expressions of everyone present became solemn, especially the faces of the Hyuga clan, which were full of anger and disbelief. Hyuga Heishi did not say anything with a sullen face, but one of the clan elders was a little bit tolerant, not live. How is this possible? Isn't TNG village a small ninja village, and Tianjiguo is only a small country? Their geographical location is not enough to afford so many ninjas, and it is not allowed only financially. How did they do it? This question is also what other people present want to ask. Namikaze Minato shook his head and said, I was puzzled at first, but when I learned about the properties of Tanokura, I understood why they were able to do this. He then told some of the information he knew, and in his narration, everyone understood the reason. It turns out that TNG village has industries, especially the manufacturing industry, which covers all aspects. Many things used in their daily lives are actually produced by Tianjiguo, especially many medical supplies, and more, is the head of it. And these are just the tip of the iceberg, and even Namikaze Minato himself does not know how much of the goods currently circulating in the ninja world are products from Tianjiguo, because it is impossible to find out. This is to blame the status quo of the ninja world. The ninja world does not have the fine rules between countries in Shi Shangyang's previous life, especially in terms of business, it still seems quite primitive. Therefore, Shi Shangyang made various arrangements, or changed the place of production, or changed the identity of the seller. In short, he used various methods to conceal the origin of many products and make them circulate throughout the ninja world. Took a large profit. Because of this, even if someone with intentions wanted to investigate, they would not be able to find out anything. Shi Shangyang took the initiative to expose what could be found, while the rest were hidden and impossible to find. Even the exposure of these was enough to shock the people present. Some people couldn't contain their horror and subconsciously said, we can cancel these products from entering the country of fire and Konoha, and in this way, it can be regarded as a disguised warning. Namikaze Minato shook his head. No, I have already communicated with the daimyo about this, and he does not agree with us doing this. Advertisement? Why? Someone said subconsciously, and then reacted. Sure enough, Namikaze Minato said, because the daimyo also has a share in these businesses, prohibiting the circulation of these products in the country of fire will harm the interests of daimyo, so please don't say that. Everyone was silent, and they knew in their hearts that if it was them, they would definitely not give up this kind of profit. The daimyo master is the financial encyclopedia of the entire fire country, and Konoha is the military representative of the fire country. The two sides are complementary to each other, but the fire country has an innate advantage because the master is in charge of finance. Because of this, the daimyo is talented can sometimes give orders to Konoha. And this kind of thing involving daimyo, they naturally have no choice. If that's the case, I still feel that we should give Tien Nomura a warning in terms of force. Whether it is the Hyuga branch house or the Uchiha family, they are all traitors of Konoha, and we must capture them too, so that we can maintain Konoha. He's decent, someone said. Hearing someone say this, the Hyuga family breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that someone finally spoke for them. Namikaze Minato nodded without saying a word, while his advisor Utatane Kaharu said solemnly, you can send an elite team to Tiano village to assassinate, as long as you assassinate some of those rebellious ninjas, so that you don't have to actually fight against them. You can also ensure that they understand Konoha's attitude. After the death of two companions, Utatane Kaharu, the only advisor, has become cautious now, perhaps because without the cooperation of Mitokado Homura and Shimura Danzo, her voice alone cannot influence Hokage's decision-making, so she has this ability. This performance is not surprising. Sure enough, after listening to her words, someone immediately agreed. Indeed it should be, since Tien Nomura has that kind of ninja number, we naturally can't take it lightly, but we absolutely must not take a stand on this kind of thing. 55. Yes, it should be, otherwise Konoha will be looked down upon by other villages. Yes, we can also take this opportunity to explore the reality of TNG village. Everyone thought the proposal was a good one. Advertisement. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen closed his eyes slightly, then exhaled a breath of smoke, then nodded. This plan is feasible, Minato, I agree to do it too. Namikaze Minato nodded slightly, thought for a moment, and then said, in this case, do you have any candidates? How many people should we send to carry out this task? He did not object to doing so, but he always had scruples in his heart, but seeing that everyone agreed with the plan, he simply agreed. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a while, then said, send 2 elite teams. If you choose, you can have the patriarchs present, each of them send a Genin. 39. Namikaze Minato was slightly surprised, and then he had to sigh that Zhang was still old and hot. This time, he directly captured the mentality of the ninja team leaders present. He did not need to use the ninjas in the village, but also made them unable to refuse. Killing two birds with one stone belongs to yes. Sure enough, hearing this, many people present changed their faces. It is true that they support Hyuga, but it does not mean that they are willing to send people because of it, but now the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen's words have set them up. The plan was proposed by Utatane Kaharu, but they must have discussed it in private, otherwise the opinions would not have been so the same, but now Sarutobi Hiruzen's words make them unable to refuse at all, because to refuse is to oppose this opinion. This is not in line with their original, earned, intentions. There was a slight silence at the scene, and then someone made a statement. We Hyuga have agreed to do this, and at the same time we will send 2 Jonin on this mission. This is also the determination of the Hyuga clan. It is nothing to send 2 Jonin, but they do so that other ninja people can't oppose it. With the statement of the Hyuga clan, other ninja clan can only support. It's not that they don't want to, but things that involve their own interests, they have to ponder for a while, and Sarutobi Hiruzen's words broke the tacit understanding between them, which made them very helpless. Namikaze Minato said after seeing this, "Then, that's the decision. We will send 2 elite teams to Tien Village to carry out this assassination mission. Everyone, let's discuss the assassination targets now. Be sure to choose a few high-ranking targets." Chapter 249 Shi Shangyang's Expectations, for subscription. Tien Village, Chief Building Office. Shi Shangyang looked at the information in his hand with a strange smile on his face. Are these guys still so cautious at this time? Ha ha ha. What he had in his hand was, of course, information about Konoha's recent movements. As for the source of the intelligence, it is very simple to say, it is naturally sent back by the intelligence personnel who were sent out by Shi Shangyang and hidden in the leaves. In addition to Konoha, other ninja villages also have intelligence personnel lurking in them. This is a plan that has been implemented since a long time. Let's just say that the organization with the strongest intelligence in the ninja world now, except for in addition to Black Zetsu, there are only the Tanemura ninjas under Shi Shangyang's hands, especially White Zetsu. Don't see this guy White Zetsu, but in fact, this guy has long been mixed into Shi Shangyang's current intelligence chief, and his subordinate has an intelligence department that White Zetsu established himself. It can be said that the information is played out flowers come. Therefore, Shi Shangyang has an innate advantage in this aspect if he wants to obtain information. No, Konoha's side has only begun to discuss the Tien Village and Tien Guo. Shi Shangyang has already received the news, and the speed must not be unpleasant. In front of Shi Shangyang, White Zetsu was sitting on the sofa, sipping a cup of tea, not making a 110 snoring sound. He seemed content. UB********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Shi Shangyang asked. White Zetsu grinned. No way, I finally evolved my taste buds and digestive system for myself. Don't you allow me to taste this kind of beauty, sir? That's too heartless. Shi Shangyang pouted, feeling that he shouldn't let Orochimaru conduct research on White Zetsu, and he doesn't know what transaction White Zetsu and Orochimaru made in private. This visceral system can evolve autonomously. Advertisement. As far as Shi Shangyang knew, over the past few years, the extermination of White Zetsu brought back no less than 10 White Zetsu corpses to Orochimaru for Orochimaru to study. Shi Shangyang didn't say anything about it. Anyway, Orochimaru studies whatever he likes to study. He himself seldom restricts in this regard. Superior. What do you think? Shi Shangyang asked. With the passage of time, Shi Shangyang gradually stopped taking White Zetsu off as a tool. Although the nature of this guy is a personal puppet, how can a guy who has his own thoughts and even gradually become emotional? Tools to describe. Gradually, Shi Shangyang also regarded White Zetsu off as a person who could communicate normally. He. Haven't those guys in Konoha been so careful all the time? It's no surprise. It's the leader. Do you want to take advantage of this? I always feel that you don't have any good intentions. White Zetsu said with a grin. Shi Shangyang snorted coldly. You guys are getting bolder now. That's what he said, but he didn't care much and continued. Judging from the information you brought back, Konoha and these people should be planning to send someone to assassinate. As for who to assassinate, obviously it can't be me. Even there now I haven't even figured out my identity, so it's only possible that it's those who betrayed Konoha. 5. Having said that, he smiled. Don't you think this is a good opportunity? White Zetsu tilted his head. What chance, boss, your smile is so strange. Shi Shangyang said. They must be very curious to know how the leader of TNG village established such a powerful TNG village. You say, if I reveal my true identity in front of them, how will they react? Maybe they're going crazy? White Zetsu asked uncertainly. I don't know if it's crazy or not, but I think the group of BEDB guys in Konoha will definitely not accept this result. I'm too threatening to them. Now add Hyuga, Vortex and Uchiha with the existence of these 3 ninja tribes. Konoha has no advantage at all compared with Tien Village. If this continues, Tien Village will only become stronger and stronger. In their thinking, it is only a matter of time before Konoha surpasses Konoha.99. Advertisement. It seems so. White Zetsu nodded. So, since they are cautious, then force them to be impulsive. Tien Village needs a war to establish the majesty in the ninja world. Sand Shinobi of the Land of Wind is too weak, Rock Shinobi of the Land and Lei are too weak. Cloud Shinobi in the country is too far away, and the country of fire bordering the country of Hachan is just right. After all, Konoha is also the most powerful ninja village on the bright side, and it is just right to use them to establish prestige. 39 Shi Shangyang laughed. White Zetsu looked frightened and smacked his lips. Sure enough, the leader is still so insidious, I still have a lot to learn. Shi Shangyang waved his hand. What are you going to tell this guy? Okay, nothing to do with you, hurry up and get out. Hee, finally you don't have to listen to the leader. Really, I'm just a puppet. Why do you always think of me as a normal person? Shouldn't these words be told to the Orochimaru guy? Rather than listening to the boss say this, I want to taste the new barbecue. White Zetsu grinned and complained. His only hobby was eating and drinking, which may have something to do with his origin. The orthodox White Zetsu has no digestive organs, let alone taste buds, and he doesn't even need to eat, and White Zetsu has these after, they have a huge interest in eating and drinking. There are no tasks on weekdays, this guy eats almost all day long, and seems to regard these as the meaning of his own existence. Shi Shangyang gave him a death stare, and White Zetsu couldn't stand Shi Shangyang's gaze, so he quickly disappeared. Shi Shangyang pouted, put down the information in his hand, put a smile on his face again, stood up and looked out the window. At this time, it was dusk, and night was approaching. There were already lights in TNG village, and the lively night was about to begin. And Shi Shangyang was looking forward to Konoha's response. After being bored for so long, it was time to find some fun for himself. At the same time, Konoha, as he expected, has already selected the people to carry out this assassination mission. Because this mission also involved the participation of the village also sent one person in the end, task support. The two elite teams set off and set foot on the road to Tien Village. Chapter 250 Sneak into the village of Tien, for subscription. Tien Jikun is as calm as ever. This kind of calm does not mean that TNG Village has no vitality, but that the daily life of TNG Village is no different from before. Happy. Prosperity is still the main color of Tien Jikun. Although the current Tien Jikun cannot be so exaggerated every day, the expansion has been going on all the time. At the same time, due to Shi Shangyang's philosophy, Tien Jikun has gradually changed with the previous one. The big cities in the world are similar. No, Shi Shangyang has already started to arrange the research and development of the first subway. Thanks to the unique chakra energy in this world, the subway that needs to be developed will naturally use chakra, but he does not need to worry about this kind of thing. Naturally there are subordinates to do it. After several years of training, Tien Jikun has emerged a lot of talents. These talents are not in ninja, but in various aspects, including various disciplines. At the same time, most of them are from civilians, and now they can use their own with the knowledge I have learned. I have started various researches, and the subway is one of them. Because of this, Tien Jikun's annual research expenditure has been quite a lot, and now it is gradually increasing. Shi Shangyang estimates that the final research and development expenses will account for about 50% of Tien Jikun's total tax revenue. Right now, he still invests in an official capacity. When the private accumulation is almost the same, the private research and development will be gradually launched. He already has a plan in this regard. In this Konoha's two elite teams secretly entered the village of Tien. Since it is an elite team, the members are basically Genin, and there are two Genin from the Hyuga branch house. It can be said that the road is calm, and there is no accident at all. After sneaking into TNG village, these talents know TNG. What is the current situation of the village? The first thing they felt was shock, and the bustling urban scene came into their eyes, which made these people who thought Konoha was the best in the ninja world very surprised, and after careful observation, they compared Tien village and Konoha. The conclusion here is stronger than Konoha. This conclusion made them a little hard to accept. They were able to grow up from a young age, and the information they were exposed to was that Konoha was the strongest ninja village in the ninja world, and they were proud of it. But now this long-standing concept has been broken, making them feel that their cognition has been reshaped. This process is not pleasant, but they are ninjas, and they are also elite ninjas, and they can quickly adjust their mentality. In a secluded alley, two elite teams secretly discussed the next action here. The leader of the group had white hair and burrs, and used a mask to cover half of his face and left eye. Hitaki Kakashi. Advertisement Hitaki Kakashi is the leader of this trip because he has a Sharingan, and with the eyes of the two Hyuga branch houses in the team is indeed very good. According to the information, Hyuga and Uchiha are both in the Dongsheng area, which is the main residential area of Tien village. Our goal is to find important people in these two families, assassinate them, and try to assassinate no less than 3 people. 1. Everyone, this mission is only allowed to succeed, not to fail, understand? Hitaki Kakashi whispered. Yes, the crowd murmured. Hitaki Kakashi glanced at the sky, it was already midnight, and said, wait for another 2 hours, and then start in the early morning. Everyone hides according to the words and waits quietly. If it was another ninja village, there should be no pedestrians on the street at this time, but TNG village is different. There is no curfew here, and some shops are even open until dawn, so even at this time, there are still people passing by on the street. In order not to cause unnecessary trouble, the crowd seemed to be very quiet during the hiding period. hiding in the shadows without making any sound, like each one of the wood, fully demonstrating the professionalism of the ninja. 2 hours is neither fast nor slow, but for Hitaki Kakashi and others, it is easy to endure. In the past tasks they performed, the conditions were worse than this. So 2 hours is nothing to them at all. 2 hours later, it was already early morning, and there were fewer people on the street. Hitaki Kakashi said to the crowd, "Let's start the team now. According to the plan, I will lead the team to the Uchiha family, and you will be responsible for going to Hyuga. One clan, Zu-kun, remember to be careful, ask for flowers." "Yes." Advertisement. Everyone responded again, and then they each cast a flash and disappeared. The two teams are separated. Hitaki Kakashi leads the first team. There are 4 people in the team including him. He is the captain, plus a white eye. There is a Genin from the Sarutobi family. The other 2 are from the Aburame family, and the other is from the Aburame family of the Inuzuka clan. The team configuration is quite elite, with Hyuga, a perceptive ninja with amazing insight, and the smell detection of Inuzuka ninjas, which can give the team an advantage in sight range and smell perception, plus a Grandmaster fire style as the Sarutobi family. Ninjas can perform very well whether they are fighting head-on or performing assassinations. In particular, Hitaki Kakashi, who is the captain, is better at assassination, so this team configuration also shows that Konoha attaches great importance to this mission. Konoha knows the information of the Uchiha clan better than anyone else, and they are well prepared for coming here this time, so which of the Uchiha clan are important tasks are actually easy to find. Point 0. Please subscribe. Inch. The Hitaki Kakashi team quietly approached the Uchiha clan's land, and did not enter rashly, but let the Hyuga ninja in the team investigate with their blank eyes, and found that most of the people in the clan's land had already slept. Carefully enter the clan from the secret place, and look for important people in the Uchiha clan. The Hyuga clan of Tien village and the Uchiha clan do not share the same clan. Although they belong to the eastern part of the city, the clans of the two clans gather at a distance. The shape of a triangle, the horns of each other, also support each other. This was arranged by Shi Shangyang. This arrangement can prevent many unexpected situations, and the two teams are very aware of this, so this trip is even more cautious. Uchiha Tio, Uchiha Keisuke, and Uchiha Mada, these 3 are the elite ninjas of the Uchiha clan, so I decided it was them, Hitaki Kakashi said. The other team is led by Genin from the Hyuga branch house, plus an Ino Shikacho team, which is not much worse than Hitaki Kakashi's team in terms of assassination. Soon, they set their goals down. Chapter 251. Meet with classmates after many years. Please subscribe. No matter which clan they belong to, elite ninjas belong to the absolute high ranking. Maybe there are not many high-ranking people in terms of power, but they are one of the true core of the clan. The assassination of such a target will make the ninja feel the pain. It's not that they don't want to assassinate Uchiha Fugaku, but around Uchiha Fugaku's house, there must be Uchiha's ninja guards, which is the standard of a powerful ninja, so assassinating Uchiha Fugaku is definitely not a wise choice. From this point of view, it is the best choice to target the elite ninja in the Uchiha clan. The 4 began to move, cautiously approaching the first target. Their first target was Uchiha Tio, a more radical Genin in the Uchiha clan, barely able to belong to the ranks of elite Genin, but a little worse than elite Genin. The reason why Uchiha Ironfire was chosen as the first target, 110, is because this guy is a radical in Uchiha. Before Uchiha had defected from Konoha, he was the one who advocated the coup d'état. He was also one of the leaders of the group. Konoha's information on the Uchiha family is very accurate. Although choosing this person can't bring great losses to the Uchiha family, it can also have a great deterrent effect. Because of this, Uchiha Tio was selected. The 4 of them quickly approached the Uchiha Tio house, and the whole process was under the staring eyes of Hyuga branch house Genin. After approaching the outer wall, Hyuga ninja nodded slightly to Hitaki Kakashi and the others, indicating that there was no problem. Hitaki Kakashi lifted his mask, revealing his left eye, and the scarlet Sharingan showed a hint of scarlet in the night. Nodding slightly, the next moment, the 4 of them disappeared together and rushed towards Uchiha Tiyuo's home. This is a small courtyard, the kind of single-family house. In the observation with white eyes, the location of Uchiha's Ironfire has naturally been determined. Go to Uchiha Ironfire's bedroom. This guy is unmarried and single, which is also one of the reasons why he was chosen as a target. Hyuga ninja was the first to approach Uchiha's Ironfire floor, and instantly pulled out his ninja sword and stabbed it against the quilt. Laugh. In the slight sound, the quilt trembled, and then there was no movement. Assassination is sometimes so simple and unpretentious, but Hitaki Kakashi doesn't know why, but he always feels that there is something wrong, and he directly lifts the quilt, and then his pupils shrink. There was indeed someone under the quilt, but it was not the target mission. It was a pale human figure with no facial features. It looked very strange, and there was no blood at the place where the blade was pierced, but the breath it showed was normal. People are no different. Advertisement. How come? Hyuga ninja was shocked. In his eyes, the person in front of him had complete meridians and internal organs. There was no problem at all. Even the chakra in his body was at the Genin level, so he couldn't go wrong at all. Just as he was thinking about it, the chakra on the human figure on the bed dropped rapidly until it finally lowered to the level of Genin. In this case, the 4 of them instantly knew that their operation had failed, so without any hesitation, they turned around and rushed out the door. But the next moment, the four of them stopped in unison. In their line of sight, the courtyard walls of the small courtyard, as well as the outside walls and roofs, were already covered with people at this time, and the pairs of scarlet eyes were extraordinarily eerie under the moonlight. Surrounded by so many pairs of Sharingan staring at them, the hearts of the four of them couldn't help sinking. The leader was naturally Uchiha Fugaku. He put his arms around his chest and stood on the top of the tallest building, under the command of a high commander, and beside him were the ninjas of the Uchiha clan. All faces were frosty. Hitaki Kakashi, I didn't expect it to be you who sneaked into the village. If that's the case, it's time to take back your Sharingan. It belongs to Uchiha's power, and the enemy is not qualified to possess it. Uchiha Fugaku opened his mouth with a calm expression, as if he was talking about a very ordinary thing, and was not angry at seeing these four Konoha shinobi. Patriarch Fugaku. Hitaki Kakashi stood in front with a solemn expression, took a deep breath and said solemnly, "Can I ask you a question?" "What's the problem?" Uchiha Fugaku asked. "How did you find us?" He couldn't figure out this doubt at all. He had done similar infiltration missions many times, but there were very few people who leaked information to this kind of in advance. Now he can be sure that his mission this time has been leaked from the very beginning, so there is such a situation, and the Uchiha family has been prepared in advance, otherwise it will not be the current result. This kind of thing is impossible to hide from the leader, Uchiha Fugaku said. "Master Chief? Is it Yoichiro Taito?" Hitaki Kakashi asked. Advertisement, do not. Another voice suddenly appeared, and then the four of them saw these Uchihas move aside, and then one person walked out from these people and stood beside Uchiha Fugaku. The leader, he said, was me. It was none other than Shi Shangyang. Hitaki Kakashi stared at the person coming, looking at his unfamiliar face, but was able to correspond to the information. It was indeed Yoichiro Taito, but he didn't understand why the other party denied his identity. Seemingly seeing Hitaki Kakashi's doubts, Shi Shangyang raised the corners of his mouth, and then rubbed his cheeks. A thin piece of skin was torn off, and his true face was revealed. Looking at the unfamiliar face with a little familiarity, Hitaki Kakashi's eyes widened. That face soon began to merge with a certain face in his memory, but the face in his memory was very young, but it can correspond to this face. "Long time no see, Kakashi," Shi Shangyang said with a smile. Hitaki Kakashi's eyes widened, and 3.1 had already reacted at this time. At this moment, his body seemed to have been electrocuted, and his body trembled slightly. Shi Shangyang was like seeing an old friend with a sincere smile. Hitaki Kakashi called out Shi Shangyang's name, but his heart felt like a Category 12 hurricane. His whole mind was in chaos, and he didn't know what to think or do at this time. "I'm so happy to see you here. We haven't seen each other for some years. How have you been all these years?" While speaking, Shi Shangyang put away the card that Hitaki Kakashi dropped due to his shock. It was a golden card. In fact, not only did he explode, but so did the other four. Please subscribe. Drop. Congratulations to the host for getting the ability card Kamui, left eye, close black lens bracket. Ishigami. Yang, Chapter 252 The Long Lost Battle, please subscribe. Kamui, left eye. Shi Shangyang didn't show anything on his face, but he was a little puzzled. He had obtained the Kamui ability from Obito before, and now he got a Kamui from Hitaki Kakashi. Could it be that this Kamui is a unique left eye ability? Without any hesitation, he immediately used this card and understood in an instant. Indeed, as he imagined, this ability is indeed unique to Obito's left eye ability. The same as Kamui, the right eye is hollow and Kamui space, and the left eye is teleportation, which can transmit the enemy's attack or the enemy itself, or a certain part of the body, which can also be used for attack and defense. The only disadvantage is it takes a certain amount of time to accumulate chakra. But this kind of shortcoming does not exist for Shi Shangyang at all, because he now adds this left eye Kamui. Even if he has the complete Kamui ability, this shortcoming will naturally disappear directly. The combination of the two kinds of Kamui can bring out the true ability of Kamui. The speed of transfer and teleportation is improved by an unknown amount, and the time of hollow is also improved. At the same time, Shi Shangyang also put away the cards that exploded from the other four people. All three of them showed purple cards. One is the use of the white eye, the other is the experience of 14 fire style, and the other is the ninja dog. Cultivation experience, the last one is a parasite larva. Unsurprisingly, these four cards have all been boosted into gold cards. The three experience cards are nothing to Shi Shangyang, but the bad bug larva have made Shi Shangyang a little interested. But now is not the time to check this. He put this card in the card bag, and still looked at Hitaki Kakashi with a smile. The latter finally recovered, but looked at Shi Shangyang with a complicated expression, frowned, and said solemnly, "So you have always been the leader of TNG Village? 39. Shi Shangyang nodded with a smile, and directly admitted, "Yes, TNG Village was actually built by me, isn't it surprising?" It was a surprise indeed. Hitaki Kakashi nodded, and then narrowed his eyes as if thinking of something. "So, Orochimaru is actually here too?" "Of course." Shi Shangyang gave a positive answer. Hitaki Kakashi let out a long sigh, then pulled out the short blade on his back. His expression became firm. Advertisement. It's really surprising to see you here, but since you're Konoha's enemy, there's nothing to say. The other four also reacted the same way. At this point, in fact, they had no luck, and they were also mentally prepared for what was going to happen next. The ending of ninjas is like this. Few people die of old age. They always say to ninjas that death on the battlefield is their destination. For this, they are very clear on the day they become ninjas. Shi Shangyang said, "Do you have to fight with me? Obviously when we were in the ninja school, our relationship was not bad." Hitaki Kakashi said blankly, "That must be your illusion, right?" That's right, Kakashi when he was in school had an extremely bad personality. Because of the death of his father, he looked like he was bitter and hated all day long, and there were only a few contemporaneous students who could talk. Shi Shangyang, who originally only surpassed Obito in ninja talent, Kakashi didn't pay much attention at that time, so saying that the two have a good relationship is just a joke. Ahaha, is it so direct? He was directly broken by Hitaki Kakashi, but Shi Shangyang was not embarrassed at all, but instead hit him haha. But the next moment, his smile also subsided, and he calmly said, "I didn't expect Konoha to send you to TNG village this time, but it's good, this way, if you catch you can also let Konoha feel distressed for a while." "I won't let you grab it so easily," Hitaki Kakashi said. Yes, you are a genius, but after all these years, you don't seem to have made any progress. Are you dragged down by that Sharingan? That's right, without the Uchiha bloodline, forcibly using Sharingan, for you it should be a big burden, right? I happen to have Sharingan too, so let's have a long-lost battle. As Shi Shangyang spoke, his eyes turned into the three-tomo Sharingan state, staring at Hitaki Kakashi with a smile on his face again. He is really interested in fighting Hitaki Kakashi at the moment. There are very few people in the ninja world who are worth his shot, but fighting Hitaki Kakashi will give him a different kind of fun. Saw. The two disappeared at the same moment, and then the figure reappeared in the same place. When the short blade collided with kunai, and a little spark was suddenly scattered, and the two stood on the fence, stalemate for a while. Advertisement: you capture those 4 guys, remember not to kill them, these people can be used to negotiate terms with Konoha. Shi Shangyang's voice came out and gave orders to the Uchihas. Yes, Lord Chief. More all the Uchihas responded, and after seeing Uchiha Fugaku wave his hand, the Uchihas rushed towards the remaining 4. In such a situation, Hitaki Kakashi did not change his expression, because he was mentally prepared for the ending of himself and his companions, knowing that the failure of the mission was inevitable, and even if he resisted, the ending would not change. Instead of worrying, it is better to have a good fight with Shi Shangyang. The two were deadlocked for a while, and then changed their moves at the same time. They didn't use ninjutsu in a tacit understanding, but chose to use taijutsu to duel. During the ninja school period, it was not that the two did not fight 110 times, but at that time Hitaki Kakashi was the best in the class, and Shi Shangyang was only average, so in the limited battle between the two, Shi Shangyang's predecessor never won. Now, Shi Shangyang is very happy to have a battle with Hitaki Kakashi, which is a test of their growth over the years. Boom, boom, boom. The two have similar physical characteristics, they are both sharp and quick, and they have frequent killing moves. Hitaki Kakashi's swordsmanship was taught by his father. White Fang's swordsmanship focuses on instant killing. In addition, Hitaki Kakashi has Sharingan, which can be very good. Capture the opponent's movement characteristics and make corresponding reactions, so it appears more aggressive. And Shi Shangyang's side is not too much. His special characteristics are that he upholds a quick word, also pays attention to one-hit kills, also has Sharingan, and his insight is even higher than Hitaki Kakashi, so he looks even more fierce. Dang. At the same time when the two physiques collided, kunai and short blade were also colliding, each attack hitting the opponent's vitals, and each collision was resisted when the opponent's ultimate move struck. It is precisely because of this that the battle between the two seems to be full of fierceness and sternness. In a pure ninja duel, you may be injured every second, but every time you are human, you can resist it, giving people a very dangerous feeling. A feeling of. Chapter 253 beat Kakashi. For subscription, the two separated again, and their bodies were slightly lowered. Shi Shangyang held Kuwu instead, his eyes were slightly narrowed, and the corners of his mouth were smiling. It seems that you haven't wasted time in these years, and your use of Sharingan is no worse than those of Uchiha's elites. No, to be precise, you have surpassed most Uchihas in the use of Sharingan. 33 Shi Shangyang praised. Hitaki Kakashi looked solemn. Judging from the moment of contact just now, he knew that he was facing an extremely powerful enemy, because he had tried his best just now, but he still couldn't help Shi Shangyang. Sure enough, Uchiha who opened Sharingan will be completely different from before opening his eyes. You can't do this without opening your eyes. Sure enough, Uchiha's power is only due to Sharingan? Even though Hitaki Kakashi already knew the result, he still had to do what he had to do. When fighting, he would never allow himself to back down, even if it was just a conversation. Shi Shangyang sneered. Make no mistake, I'm not Uchiha, and having Uchiha's bloodline is just an accident for me. Although Sharingan has brought me benefits, my strength is not only achieved by Sharingan. 5. That's right, I rely on plugins to be strong. Shi Shangyang thought so in his heart, but he couldn't say it. Crackle. I saw Hitaki Kakashi's blade, and suddenly there were a series of fine arcs, jumping on the blade, and even fine electric light appeared on his body. Apparently, Hitaki Kakashi is ready to get real. Seeing this, Shi Shangyang smiled even more, and when his mind moved, he put away his kunai, and with a clang, he pulled out the ninja sword from his waist, and then arcs appeared on his body and on the blade. The situation was the same as that of Hitaki Kakashi. Seeing this, Hitaki Kakashi's pupils shrank, and with his knowledge, he could naturally see at a glance that the other party was using the same abilities as himself. It's not as simple as being similar, it's really the same, even chakra's nature transformation is the same. In other words, at this moment, the other party used the same technique as himself. I'm surprised, how could I do this? Shi Shangyang asked with a smile. Hitaki Kakashi was silent. Shi Shangyang answered by himself, don't forget, I own Sharingan. You can gain a reputation as a copy ninja in the ninja world. Why do you think I can't do this? Oh yes, this technique, the chakra nature transformation, is very special, and the general Sharingan can't see through it, but unfortunately, the nature transformation of lightning style chakra. Advertisement, my masters is deeper than yours, so it's not difficult for me to do that. Hitaki Kakashi is still silent, but his expression has become more and more solemn. After taking a deep breath, he slowly spit out a sentence. Then let's fight. Shi Shangyang grinned when he heard this. The next moment, the two figures turned into two electric lights, rushing towards each other, leaving only a vague shadow in the air. This is not an instant body technique, but pure body maneuvering speed, like lightning, colliding together in midair. When, in the crisp sound of the collision, the two were separated by a touch. But then, after the two fell to the ground, they turned back again and rushed towards each other again. When. The sound of the collision was dense like a drum, and pieces of sparks bloomed like fireworks, and two blurry shadows leapt in the air, like two lightning flashes, jumping back and forth at a speed that people couldn't catch with the naked eye. At this speed, even the most insightful Uchihas couldn't help but open their mouths in shock. Because what they see in their eyes is not much better than that of ordinary people. In ordinary people's eyesight, there are two blurry shadows. In the Sharingan of Uchiha, what they see are two afterimages, and even the movements are blurred, unable to capture complete. Shi Shangyang and Hitaki Kakashi don't care about the outside world at all. Even if Kakashi's teammates over there have been besieged, he is not distracted at all. At this time, there is only Shi Shangyang in his eyes. Defeating the enemy in front of him is the only thought in his heart. From the beginning of the battle between the two, it has directly entered into a white-hot battle. Hitaki Kakashi is going all out. At this time, the competition is not only swordsmanship, but also ninjutsu. Boom! At the moment when the two passed by wrongly again, Hitaki Kakashi suddenly turned around and completed the knot at the moment just now. He opened his mouth and spit out a huge fireball at Shi Shangyang, which crashed towards him. Advertisement, the sound of the explosion appeared, followed by the flames, and the flames engulfed the place where Shi Shangyang had just been. The huge sound roared in the early morning night. The figure of Shi Shangyang appeared from the shadow in the other direction, and the whole person shot out like lightning, and the blade brought an astonishing cold light, and slashed towards Hitaki Kakashi's neck. When Hitaki Kakashi blocked the blow, but the next moment he felt a pain in his chest, but he didn't know when Shi Shangyang had kicked on it. Without any accident, Hitaki Kakashi flew out backwards, and his pupils shrank again in midair. A sense of danger came, and he used the body replacement technique without thinking. Puff puff. With a few small, soft clicks, a stone that replaced Hitaki Kakashi was pierced by invisible bullets, fell to the ground, and shattered. Shi Shangyang swept his eyes and found Hitaki Kakashi's hiding place. With a flick of his body, he rushed towards it. There was no knot in the other hand, but there was an extra chakra light ball in his hand. That is Rasengan. Hitaki Kakashi seemed to have seen some incredible scene. He didn't expect that Shi Shangyang would actually be able to use this technique developed by his teacher Namikaze Minato. And at this moment, Shi Shangyang appeared in front of him. This trick must be called out to have a taste. Rasengan without voice control has no soul. Boom. The next moment, he felt the power of Rasengan. The short blade in his hand was unstable, and bombarded his chest like a heavy hammer, and then his whole body was lifted up by this huge force, like a cannonball, flew out. Hitaki Kakashi's body slammed into two walls, and then stopped with a depression on the third wall. Please subscribe. Shi Shangyang gave a soft drink, and Rasengan pressed hard against Hitaki Kakashi's chest. Shi Shangyang stood on the ruins, looked down at Hitaki Kakashi with his head lowered, and said, "Don't tell me, you only have this level." Hitaki Kakashi reacted at this moment and put the short blade across his chest. In this short period of time, there was only so much he could do. Chapter 254, The Same Kamui, please subscribe. Hitaki Kakashi coughed a few times violently, trembled twice, coughed out 2 mouthfuls of blood, and then fell against the wall, staggering 2 steps when he landed, and then stood up. When he raised his head, his mask was damaged, including the waistcoat on his chest. A hole had also been punched out, exposing the inside of the chest, and the chest was even more like being scalded. Blood. This look has obviously been severely damaged, but Hitaki Kakashi didn't back down. After standing firm, he took a deep breath and said, "You guy, I haven't seen each other in a few years, but you are so strong. Already." Shi Shangyang didn't answer this question directly, but smiled. "You should be more than that. That Sharingan shouldn't be so simple, or, even at this time, you still refuse to use your real power?" As mentioned earlier, Hitaki Kakashi is good at assassination, and he is not weak in frontal combat, but against an opponent like Shi Shangyang, frontal fighting has become his weakness, and there is no chance of victory at all. Hearing this, Hitaki Kakashi shook his head slightly and smiled bitterly. Sure enough, this kind of thing can't be hidden from you at all. After all, you are also Uchiha. Sharingan is no stranger to you. Shi Shangyang smiled without saying a word. I heard Hitaki Kakashi say again. This Sharingan is Obito's 123. After that guy died, this eye has an inexplicable ability. I don't know why, or even I don't know when this ability appeared. I have never told anyone about it, but now, it seems that this ability is not applicable and there is no way to beat you. Are you so confident? Shi Shangyang laughed. Hitaki Kakashi shook his head. I don't have the confidence, all I can do is try to fight as hard as I can. As he spoke, his left eye three tomo began to spin, the black tomo connected to each other, and then turned into a three-bladed spiral dart pattern. This scene was seen by many Uchihas, and Uchiha Fugaku who did not do anything even shrank his pupils. Mangekyo Sharingan. No wonder he was so surprised. Among the entire Uchiha clan, he and Uchiha Shisui were the only ones he knew who possessed the Mangekyo Sharingan, and Shi Shangyang who was not Uchiha, and there was no one else. Now seeing Mangekyo in a foreigner, he, the Uchiha patriarch, had violent fluctuations in his heart. Unfortunately, this fluctuation only appeared because of Kakashi, so there was no card. Advertisement Hitaki, BEDB. Kakashi gasped slightly, looked at Shi Shangyang, and said solemnly, you don't seem to be surprised? Shi Shangyang just smiled slightly. It's just Mangekyo Sharingan, what's so surprising, you don't think that Mangekyo is the only one you have? As he spoke, his eyes turned into a six-blade vortex pattern, and he stared at Hitaki Kakashi quietly. Seeing this, Hitaki Kakashi smiled wryly, stared into Shi Shangyang's eyes, and said helplessly, sure enough, I should have thought about it, how could a guy like you be as simple as an ordinary Mangekyo, and he will definitely use this kind of pupil technique. That's right. After speaking, his expression became solemn, and he said solemnly, then, let me use this Sharingan from my best friend to end this battle. You are still so confident. Shi Shangyang didn't move, just stood still. At this moment, his body began to twist. To be precise, the space around him began to twist and spin, appearing on his chest like a uzumaki. Be careful. Uchiha Fugaku exclaimed and reminded him that if it wasn't for Shi Shangyang's order in advance, he would have already helped by now. However, the trust in Shi Shangyang's power still allowed him to watch from the sidelines and did not take the initiative to intervene in the battle. The expression on Shi Shangyang's face did not change, he let Hitaki Kakashi's Kamui pupil technique act on him, and even looked down and nodded slightly. The time-space pupil technique can change the structure of space, thereby transferring objects or human body parts. Such an attack cannot be defended at all, but unfortunately, I am not included. While speaking, Shi Shangyang took a step forward, and the twisted space vortex passed through his body like this, acting on the air behind him. Hitaki Kakashi's pupils shrank suddenly in disbelief. The vortex dissipated, Hitaki Kakashi closed his left eye slightly, and after using this pupil technique, it put a huge load on his body, and even he couldn't bear the burden of this technique several times. Confused, right? Shi Shangyang smiled. Advertisement. The next moment, a vortex of space suddenly appeared in Hitaki Kakashi's abdomen, almost identical to the one that appeared on Shi Shangyang's chest just now. Hitaki Kakashi was shocked, and instantly retreated. He distanced himself from the vortex of space. He touched his lower abdomen with some heart palpitations. What shocked him was that it was completely his technique, but it was used by Shi Shangyang. Shi Shangyang smiled and said, how about it, I imitated this trick well, right? Imitation? It's impossible. This is an art that belongs to Mangekyo alone. It can't be imitated, even if you have Mangekyo. Hitaki Kakashi directly retorted. Haha. 35 Shi Shangyang laughed, and then said, just kidding, of course I know that this technique cannot be imitated, or even learned, because it is indeed a pupil technique that belongs to your eye, but... Shi Shangyang stroked his left eye slightly, and said with a half-smile, but unfortunately, my Mangekyo also happens to have this technique. Hitaki Kakashi didn't know what to think, his face suddenly turned cold, and hissed. You found Obito's body and dug up the remaining Sharingan from his body, right? Shi Shangyang was stunned for a moment and scratched his head in confusion. Seeing this, Hitaki Kakashi rushed towards Shi Shangyang in an instant, and a burst of electric light suddenly burst out from his hand, turning his palm into a knife, and stabbed Shi Shangyang in the chest. Please subscribe. Why do you think that? Why should I dig Uchiha Obito's eyes? Or do you think that I can't open Mangekyo by myself, and I need to use his eyes instead? You look down on that guy too much. Hitaki Kakashi's association is a bit inexplicable. Shi Shangyang didn't expect this guy to have such a big brain hole. Then, his whole body passed through Shi Shangyang. The palm penetrated Shi Shangyang's chest unhindered, but Hitaki Kakashi's expression changed because he didn't feel the touch of penetrating his chest. Then, he walked towards Hitaki Kakashi step by step. It seems that you really don't believe me, but it's okay, I'll make you believe it. 99. Hitaki Kakashi's face was not very good looking, and he didn't seem to believe what Shi Shangyang said. Chapter 255 The Meeting Between Lin and Kakashi, please subscribe. Hitaki Kakashi didn't understand what was going on, but the ninja instinct still made him want to stay away from Shi Shangyang subconsciously, so he didn't stop. Instead he increased his speed and rushed forward. But the next moment, he found that the wrist of the hand holding the knife was grabbed by someone, his hand was empty, and the short blade had been taken off at an unknown time. He didn't need to turn his head to understand that this was what Shi Shangyang did. Sure enough, when he turned around, Hitaki Kakashi saw Shi Shangyang looking at the short blade in his hand with a half-smiling smile, and said, "Is this the knife of Konoha's White Fang? It is rumored to be this knife, in the second ninja world." During the war, countless people were killed with fear, and it also forged the reputation of Konoha's White Fang, but it's a pity. Shi Shangyang shook his head as he spoke, and inserted the handle into the scabbard on Kakashi's back. Hitaki Kakashi wanted to make a move, but unfortunately, there was a sense of powerlessness in the hand that was being held. This sense of powerlessness spread all over his body in an instant. He even almost lost his footing. It is estimated that it has fallen down at this time. "Sure enough, there's still no way to get hold of you?" Hitaki Kakashi said with a wry smile. "Well, it's impossible for you to win all the time. After all, when I was at the ninja school, I never won against you, and I'm quite happy to do something like winning you." 35 Shi Shangyang laughs, he said. Hitaki Kakashi closed his eyes and looked relaxed, knowing that he was about to meet his end. "You won, so kill me," he said. Shi Shangyang put away his ninja sword, stuck a healing talisman on Hitaki Kakashi's chest, and then used the seal technique on him to seal his acupoints and prevent the flow of chakra in his body, and then let him go. "Don't worry, I didn't say I would kill you. As a disciple of 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato, you are not an ordinary person among Konoha. If I expected it, you should be regarded as the 5th Hokage. Cultivated, has such potential, and is so favored by the Hokage family, why should you use your identity to deal with Konoha well?" Shi Shangyang laughed. Hitaki Kakashi opened his eyes, first glanced at the healing talisman glowing green on his chest in surprise, then looked at Shi Shangyang with a complicated look, but in the end he didn't say anything. At this time, there is no difference between death and immortality for him. Shi Shangyang saw that he had nothing to say and nothing to do, just smiled casually, and then turned his attention elsewhere. Advertisement: the battle on his side is over, and the battle of the Uchihas there is also coming to an end. The remaining 4 members of Hitaki Kakashi's team have almost lost their ability to resist now. According to Shi Shangyang's request, these people were only injured a little, but it did not affect their safety. Under the attack of a group of Uchiha, they couldn't do anything at all. Storm. You must know that the Uchihas who can do it on the scene are the elites of the Uchiha clan. Some are good at taijutsu, some are good at ninjutsu, and some are good at illusion. Seeing that the 4 were under control, Shi Shangyang said, "Detain these 4 guys, keep them healthy, and send someone to inform Hyuga. Let them find the opportunity to commit suicide and seal them all up." "Yes, sir." Everyone responded. Shi Shangyang said to Uchiha Fugaku, "I took this guy Kakashi, and his Sharingan can't be handed over to you for the time being, but don't worry, Shisui will be back soon." 39. During this time, Uchiha Shisui was assigned other tasks by Shi Shangyang, and let him go to Kirigakure, the land of water, and hand over some supplies there. Shi Shangyang intends to make Uchiha Shisui the squad leader of the Genin class in Tianjimura. This is a high-level position in Tianjimura, so he needs to arrange some tasks for him recently, so that he can familiarize himself with Tianjimura's task mode as soon as possible, as well as with the village. The ninjas are familiar. Uchiha Fugaku looked at Hitaki Kakashi with a complicated look, but after hearing that, he still nodded and said, "I see, sir. Then, I'll go first, and you can handle the rest." Shi Shangyang did not intend to stay here any longer, and disappeared from the spot with Hitaki Kakashi. When it reappeared, it was at Shi Shangyang's home. It's still the ordinary-looking courtyard. This is Shi Shangyang's home. As I said before, he is not a person who likes to enjoy. At first, he chose to live here, just because TNG was at that time. When the village started, this small courtyard was already the best place to live at that time. For flowers. Now, this small courtyard is not keeping up with the development of TNG village. It should have been demolished. Advertisement: "This is my home. You should live here tonight. Don't try to play tricks. This place is heavily guarded," Shi Shangyang warned. Hitaki Kakashi seems to be a little surprised that Shi Shangyang, the head of TNG village, only lives in such an ordinary small courtyard, which is completely inconsistent with his identity. In Konoha, ordinary people who live better than Shi Shangyang also abound. Shi Shangyang didn't explain anything. He brought Hitaki Kakashi to his house, naturally, for other purposes. It is impossible to rebel against Hitaki Kakashi. This guy is a staunch supporter of the will of fire, and his worldview is already very stable, so it is basically impossible to want to follow his ideas. In fact, Shi Shangyang didn't have much interest in him, and brought him here just to watch a good show tomorrow. In such a short period of time, Hitaki Kakashi found that the injury on his chest had already healed, which surprised him, but he didn't show anything. He was a little worried about the weird smile on Shi Shangyang's face, which always made him feel as if something bad was going to happen. This mission to kill Konoha and Hyuga naturally ended in failure. When he found out that Shi Shangyang had no intention of killing them, Hitaki Kakashi naturally thought about how to pass on the information. Too bad he couldn't do that. He didn't expect such a clean defeat, so tonight was destined to be a sleepless night for Hitaki Kakashi. But early the next morning, something that made him stunned appeared. A woman who seemed to be in her early 20s stood in front of him at some point, with a smile on her face. Long time no see, Kakashi, how have you been all these years? Needless to say, this woman is naturally Lin. Chapter 256 Lin. My child is 7 years old, please subscribe. Hitaki Kakashi's eyes were round, and his whole body was shaking. The person who appeared in front of him was his nightmare and the one he felt most guilty of. He didn't know how many times in his sleep it would happen that day. When I woke up, I was sweating every time I thought about it. Hitaki Kakashi's lips trembled, he didn't know how to speak, and even now he forgot what to say, just stared blankly at the person in front of him, his thoughts chaotic. Nohara Lin smiled slightly. Compared with a few years ago, her appearance has not changed much, or it has grown. Compared with her when she was a girl, she looked more mature at this time. The purple face shadow has been washed away, replaced by a complete face. Hitaki Kakashi is very familiar with her appearance. I don't know how many times in midnight dreams, he will sound 140 about what happened that day. He pierced his chest and killed his companion with his own hands. It was a needle in his heart, and it was something he never wanted to think of in his heart. But now, Nohara Rin was standing in front of him alive, making him feel that this might not be reality, but a dream. Why, you haven't seen me for a few years, don't you know me? The smile on Nohara Rin's face was genuine, and she was very happy when Shi Shangyang informed him that Hitaki Kakashi was coming. Compared to Uchiha Obito, she actually has a different kind of affection for Hitaki Kakashi in her heart, but she never said that Hitaki Kakashi may have noticed it, and the other party has always avoided this point in the past. And she didn't have any complaints or hatred for Hitaki Kakashi, and what happened that day was entirely her own will. On the contrary, she also felt guilty for Hitaki Kakashi, because she knew very well what kind of pain it would bring to Hitaki Kakashi, and the information about Hitaki Kakashi over the years also confirmed this. Because of this, she was actually quite nervous when she came to see Hitaki Kakashi this time. Is it really you, Lin? Hitaki Kakashi finally regained his senses. At this time, he had taken off the mask, and carefully looked at Nohara Rin with his eyes, up and down, comparing it with the girl he remembered. Nohara Rin smiled. Are you sure you want to say it here? Don't you invite me in? Advertisement at this time, the two people were in Shi Shangyang's house, that small courtyard. Shi Shangyang went to work early in the morning, so at this time there was only Hitaki Kakashi in the house. It's not that Hitaki Kakashi didn't think about escaping, the ninja will never give up the chance to survive at any time, but Hitaki Kakashi didn't do it because he knew that it couldn't have any effect at all. Hearing this, Hitaki Kakashi reacted and quickly moved away to let Rin Nohara come in. Nohara Lin often came to Shi Shangyang's house. After all, in the village of Tien, only Shi Shangyang knew each other in the past. The two were classmates, and there was still a friendship since childhood. How is it? Did you sleep well last night? Yang-kun is good at everything, but he is too stingy with himself. I told him a long time ago that he should change to a bigger house, but he never stops. Nohara Lindau. Hitaki Kakashi took a deep breath, and from Nohara Rin's words, he could discern some information. First of all, now he can be sure that the person standing in front of him is Rin Nohara herself, not someone else pretending to be. Secondly, he can also confirm that Nohara Rin has been in Tien Village for several years, and it can even be said that Nohara Rin has been here since the establishment of Tien Village. Then Hitaki Kakashi can be sure that what happened that day may have some secret or conspiracy in it. Why? Why are you here? Hitaki Kakashi asked. Nohara Rin smiled and sat down on the sofa in the room, poured a cup of tea for Hitaki Kakashi, and then said, I came here with Yang-kun. Oh yes, it should be said that I was brought here by her. At that time, I was also taken aback. 35. Hitaki Kakashi was puzzled, and Nohara Rin's words confirmed his conjecture, but he did not understand what Nohara Rin meant. It's a surprise, right? It's a surprise, why did I survive? Nohara Rin smiled, but after saying this, the smile on her face subsided, and she sighed. I'm sorry, Kakashi, for making you suffer so much all these years, but at that time, I couldn't help it. After all, I was sealed with a tailed beast at that time, and was controlled to go to Konoha to release the tailed beast. You know that if that is the case, the result is definitely not what I want to see, so. I didn't say anything later, but Hitaki Kakashi understood. Advertisement. He nodded slightly and said calmly, I can understand, but, how did you survive? This is what he most wants to know. Nohara Rin smiled again and answered, for this matter, I have to thank Yang-kun. He rescued me at the time, and then brought me to the country of Tien, and what happened next? It's almost like this now. Hearing this, Hitaki Kakashi exhaled a long breath. He had already guessed that it would be like this, but Nohara Rin didn't want to go into details, so he couldn't ask any further, and said, so, why haven't you gone back all these years? 55. Nohara Rin shook her head and said, sorry, Kakashi, it's not that I don't want to go back, it's that I can't go back. Cannot go back? Yeah, don't forget, I am Jinchuriki, and the tailed beast in my body is 3 tails Isou of Kirigakure. If I go back, what will the village do to me? If the news spreads that I am Jinchuriki, missed, how will shinobi react? 35. Hitaki Kakashi came back to his senses, suddenly understood, and fell silent. On the contrary, I can live very well here, and Yang-kun is also very good to me. As long as I don't let me shoot against Konoha, other things are not bad for me, she said. Hitaki Kakashi's expression changed slightly when he heard the words. However, Shi Shangyang has shot Konoha several times 3.1 times. Nohara Rin said helplessly. I know, but I can't do anything like this. After all, he is Tianjimura's warrant. Strictly speaking, I am only his subordinate. 99. Subordinate. Hitaki Kakashi's eyes drooped slightly, and he already knew the whole story. Now, his inner vibration has calmed down, but Nohara Rin's next sentence made his complexion change again. After so long, are you still alone? My child is almost 7 years old. What? The child is 7 years old. How is this possible? Doesn't that mean that you gave birth to a child when you were 12 or 13 years old? Believe it is true. Chapter 257 Promise to accept Obito, please subscribe. When Nohara Rin saw the expression on Hitaki Kakashi's face, she suddenly smiled, and in that smile, there was a sense of prank success. Yes, my child is indeed almost 7 years old, but it's still a bit reluctant to give birth to a child at the age of 12 or 13. Then, what the hell is going on? Hitaki Kakashi asked, dumbfounded. Nohara Rin chuckled softly and said, that child's name is Sasuke. Sasuke? Hitaki Kakashi's expression changed, and then he asked, is that the name of the adult I know? Yes, it is the name of Lord Third Hokage's father, but this name was not named by me, but by another person. Nohara Rin said. Who? Is it Shi Shangyang? He asked. Nohara Rin shook her head slightly. Who is that? If it was someone he didn't know, then Nohara Rin could not have said such a thing at all. Since she said so, the person who named it must be someone he knew, which Hitaki Kakashi could still tell. It's Obito-kun. Nohara Rin said. Hitaki Kakashi's body froze. If he was still unwilling when he saw Nohara Rin at 14, then all he can feel now is horror. What do you mean? Obito him, isn't he already? Hitaki Kakashi's body was trembling slightly. He saw Uchiha Obito's death with his own eyes. That scene was also deeply engraved in his mind. I can survive. Why can't Obito survive? Nohara Rin asked back. Hitaki Kakashi's expression changed, and he said solemnly, is it Shi Shangyang's handwriting? Not. This time, Nohara Rin gave a denial answer. Why? Advertisement. Hitaki Kakashi desperately wanted to know why. It's Uchiha Madara. Nohara Rin did not hide it either. But the words fell in Hitaki Kakashi's ears, but it seemed like a joke. How can that be? He couldn't believe it. Nohara Rin explained to him some of the things she knew, which were naturally told to her by Shi Shangyang, and it was nothing to say now. But the point is, the name Uchiha Madara is taboo in Konoha, and he would never have thought that Uchiha Madara is really alive, and that he has single-handedly contributed to the tragedy of Uchiha Obito, and even what happened to Nohara Rin, also by Uchiha Madara. Is it really? Still in disbelief, Hitaki Kakashi asked subconsciously, so, is Uchiha Madara still alive now? Nohara Rin shook her head. I don't know about this. You need to ask Yang-kun about the plot, he should have more specific information. Hitaki Kakashi took a deep breath, then let it out, and said, I can't believe it, such a thing actually happened. Now, he finally understands what happened to the tragedy in his team. Wait, that is, Obito is still alive, so why doesn't he want to go back? Didn't he dream of being Hokage? Hitaki Kakashi asked. Nohara Rin didn't know what she thought of, her face was a little red, and he said, maybe he doesn't want to. Hitaki Kakashi is not stupid, thinking about the situation of the team at that time, and Obito's feelings for Rin, he immediately guessed the reason. Is it because you were right? So, the child you just mentioned is you and his child, right? When Nohara Rin heard the words, her face turned even redder, and she whispered. It's me and his child, but there are other reasons, I can't explain it to you. 99. What's the meaning? Because that child was accidentally created by Shi Shangyang, strictly speaking, it can be regarded as his child, Nohara Rin said. Hitaki Kakashi's eyes widened, he didn't know what to think, and subconsciously said. What, so, you three? Advertisement. Before he could finish speaking, he was directly interrupted by Nohara Rin. What nonsense are you talking about? I can't explain this kind of thing to you. You just need to know that Sasuke's child is indeed my and Obito's child, and I came to see you this time, actually wanting you blessings, Nohara Rin hurriedly said. If she didn't interrupt, she didn't know what else Kakashi would think of. Bless? Hitaki Kakashi doesn't know why. Over the years, Obito has always cared about me. You should know why, and I plan to agree to him, Nohara Rin said. When she said this, there was a sense of relief on her face, and the smile she showed was also very natural, which was obviously sincere. Is that so, then congratulations, Lin, I would like to meet Obito if possible, Hitaki Kakashi said. Nohara Rin shook her head slightly. I don't know where Obito is now. If you want to see him, you have to get Yang-kun's consent. Also, you seem to have too much hostility towards him, and I don't know how he will treat him, you. She really couldn't change Shi Shangyang's thoughts on this kind of thing, because she knew from the beginning that no one could change Shi Shangyang's decision, and the only thing she could do was to respect Shi Shangyang's decision. If that guy, 140 Hitaki Kakashi shook his head, took a deep breath and said, I won't let him succeed. Nohara Rin looked a little complicated, and she knew that Kakashi's character was like this, so she didn't say much. Hitaki Kakashi was naturally clear, but didn't say much, and was silent for a while. I will find a way to talk to Yang-kun to see if he can change his mind, but I can't make any guarantees. After all, he is now the leader of Tien Village and needs to take into account the interests of the entire village. Nohara Rin sighed, and then said with a complicated expression, in short, during this period of time, you should stay here at ease, he should not have too much ill will towards you, otherwise, he will not arrange you in his own home. But one thing you need to pay attention to, do not deliberately offend him, it is very unwise to do so. 5. Please subscribe. Seeing this, Nohara Rin could only shake her head helplessly. She came here this time, just to meet her, it was a reunion of an old friend after a long absence, and she really couldn't help much. Hitaki Kakashi nodded slightly, because she knew very well what kind of person Shi Shangyang was, and she understood Shi Shangyang's firm attitude towards things even more. I understand, but you don't have to, I don't care. Chapter 258 The Possibility of War, please subscribe. The conversation between the two actually didn't last long. Nohara Rin came here this time, only because she heard that Hitaki Kakashi was locked here, thinking of her childhood feelings, so she came to see it specially. If she really wants to do something, it is obviously impossible. After all, in the past few years, she has witnessed the establishment of TNG Village from scratch, the prosperity from weak to strong, and she has also devoted herself to this side. Emotional. Not to mention other things, just in the development of medical ninjutsu, and the development of medical equipment, she has no idea how much experience she has spent. Do it with a more prosperous and powerful mentality. It is precisely because of this that the current Nohara Rin no longer has the kind of feelings she had for Konoha in the first place. No, to be precise, it's her feelings for Konoha, and now she's putting it on Tien Village, so after learning that Hitaki Kakashi was caught and imprisoned here, she's more just looking at it the mentality of an old friend. If she were to do anything to harm Tien Village, she would naturally refuse to play. So the two did not talk for too long. After seeing Hitaki Kakashi's arrival and the news that Uchiha Obito was still alive, Nohara Rin said goodbye and left, leaving some space and time for Hitaki Kakashi to digest it slowly. These messages. In the chief's office, Shi Shangyang raised his head and smiled when he saw Nohara Rin walk in. How, have you seen it? He asked. Nohara Rin nodded slightly, then sighed. Do you really want to fight Konoha? This was the conclusion she had come to after thinking about it. In fact, it was not difficult to come to such a conclusion from various indications. Shi Shangyang smiled and said, how do you think that I will fight Konoha? Nohara Rin shook her head slightly and remained silent. Okay, I'll talk to you carefully. Shi Shangyang put down his work, got up and sat down on the sofa in front of him, and signaled Nohara Rin to sit down as well, then said, now Tien Jamura needs a war to show his attitude to the ninja world, and at the same time let him the ninja world knows the existence of Tien Village, and this object, it is best to be Konoha, you can understand this point? Advertisement Nohara Rin nodded and didn't say much, she naturally understood this. However, I understand, but it is true that I am not very comfortable. Even though she also loves the village, but she was born in Konoha, she always has some special feelings for Konoha. And at the beginning, she promised to stay here, and it was only after Shi Shangyang promised not to do anything to Konoha. However, she also knew that such a promise could be fulfilled for a while, but could not last forever, just like what Shi Shangyang did later, she was already mentally prepared at that time. Konoha's defection from the Hyuga branch house and Uchiha has almost become a joke in the ninja world. In fact, they are in a very embarrassing situation and urgently need a war to boost the morale of the village. Shi Shangyang continued. And if Konoha targets several other great ninja villages, any war may evolve into the fourth ninja war, which Konoha absolutely does not want to see, so in this case, their goal is naturally a small country and a small ninja village. It just so happens that our country of Tien is a small country, and the village of Tien is seen by outsiders. It is also a small ninja village, which can be said to hit it off. But in this case, when the war begins, it will be difficult to stop it? Nohara Rin asked. Shi Shangyang just smiled, and then said, you don't have to worry about this, Konoha will only test first. How many people can you use to deal with a small ninja village? I guess, it is the limit to send dozens of people. Already. If it really is a full-scale war, for a shinobi village of Konoha's size, they can also bear it. The only thing they worry about is the issue of the follow-up, that's what they don't want to see. So, if there is a war with TNG village, after the initial trial, they will only send a certain number of ninjas to attack TNG-go. In that case, for us, we don't have to worry about anything at all, don't they? Don't you know the power of Tien Nomura now? Nohara Rin sighed helplessly. Of course she knew this, and it was precisely because of this that she had such a performance. I understand. After saying this, she could only be silent. Advertisement Shi Shangyang said with a smile. Don't worry, I know you have special feelings for Konoha, so I will wait until the war starts. The current Konoha still has a great effect on stabilizing the situation in the ninja world. I won't let them fall, after all, they will fall. At that time, our Tien Jikun will be coveted by other ninja villages, which is not a good thing. He did not shy away from saying this, naturally hoping that Nohara Rin could understand the priorities, and he also believed that Nohara Rin could understand. Hearing this, Nohara Rin nodded and said nothing more. Okay, let's not talk about this for a while. By the way, you and Obito have discussed the wedding date, okay? I really don't have much time to deal with this when the war with Konoha begins. Also, I advise you'd better get your marriage done with Obito while Kakashi is here, or let the jealous jar of Obito find out, and maybe something will happen again. When Shi Shangyang said this, Nohara Rin was also a little embarrassed, blushing slightly, and said softly, I see, I will make a decision as soon as possible. 55. Shi Shangyang shook his head and said with a smile, looks like the Obito guy's wish for many years is finally coming true. You guys should work hard and try to get a child out next year to set an example for the village. 99. Nohara Rin said, compared to us, how about you? Ishigami. Get it? Yang laughed dumbly and said, you don't have to worry if I say it. My relationship with Terumi Mei is progressing steadily, and we already got hold of it yesterday. You are awesome. Nohara Rin can say anything, but she can only admire it. Men and men really can't be compared. She has given countless opportunities in a row. That guy Obito didn't even dare to hold her hand. Shi Shangyang, how long has it been? The hand has already been pulled, and the progress is really terrifying. The two didn't say much. Speaking of which, Nohara Rin was also one of the top executives of Tien Village, and the burden on her body was not light, so she left quickly. Shi Shangyang's side is waiting for the reply from Konoha's side. He has already dispatched manpower and went to Konoha with his sincerity. I don't know what kind of reaction there is now. It's really a pity. Chapter 259 Negotiations with Konoha, please subscribe. A few days later, Konoha, a group of people dressed as Tanokura ninjas came to the gate of Konoha village. The huge gate was constantly crowded with pedestrians, including ordinary people, ninjas returning from their missions, and many businessmen, but the ninjas in Tien village were more conspicuous and were quickly noticed. This trip is a ninja team. There are 4 people in total, all of them are Genin, and the ninja of the Whirlpool clan is the leader, which is also specially arranged by Shi Shangyang. After all, the Uzumaki clan and Konoha had a good relationship at the beginning, and the relationship between the two was very close. Although the two sides cut off communication after the collapse of the Kingdom of Vortex, there was still a layer of incense love. Shi Shangyang made the ninja of the Whirlpool clan as the captain. Just because he was from the Whirlpool clan, he would make Konoha's attitude a little better, so that he wouldn't even be able to enter Konoha's gate. This is not just a talk. After all, the ninja from the strange ninja village came to Konoha, and Konoha's attitude is definitely not much. There is no official notification, and it would be good not to arrest the person as a spy. Shi Shangyang is too aware of the behavior of these ninja villages, and it is impossible not to pay attention to this aspect. Sure enough, after discovering that a strange ninja appeared at the gate of the village, several Konoha shinobi squads appeared all around, showing a faint siege, enclosing a group of 140 people from Tanokura, and separated them from the surrounding people. Separated. Who are you? What are you doing here? The leader asked in a deep voice. On Tien Jikun's side, the captain's name is Whirlpool, and he is a newcomer to the Vortex clan, Genin. He is also considered to be a young generation. He is only in his early years. I was ordered to negotiate with Konoha about the prisoner. Tien village. 35, captive? Several Konoha shinobi were puzzled, but the leader's expression changed. How to confirm your identities? He said. The Whirlpool said, my name is Whirlpool, and I belong to the Whirlpool clan in TNG village. This technique can represent my identity. As he spoke, his hands were sealed. Adamantine sealing chains. Advertisement Woe. A golden chain of chakra burst out from his back. This technique is a secret seal technique of the Vortex family. There is no semicolon in the ninja world. It combines the characteristics of the bloodline of the Vortex family. It can be said that it is an alternative blood ninjutsu. The chain spread out for 5 meters, and then formed a chakra barrier, blocking the surrounding space, which surprised the Konoha shinobi and the people who came and went. The level of blockade was immediately clear in my heart. As soon as the Whirlpool thought about it, the lock edge of adamantine sealing chains disappeared, and the barrier of space blocking also disappeared. Konoha shinobi's expressions froze. The leader already believed in Uzumaki's identity, but he was not in control of such matters, so they said, you wait here first. 35. As he spoke, he instructed a person beside him to notify the senior management of the news. Vortex naturally understood what to do at this time, so he and his 3 teammates stood there and waited, looking very relaxed, not paying attention to the threat of these Konoha shinobi. In fact, this time he came to Konoha to ask Ying. The purpose is to see if Konoha is as powerful as the legend, and at the same time he also has a certain resentment towards Konoha. This resentment originated from the beginning after the collapse of the country of Vortex. Konoha did not help the country of Vortex at that time, and the Vortex clan would naturally not have a good impression of it. Time passed, and about 10 minutes later, another Konoha shinobi team appeared on the field. This was an elite team, and one of them said, Master Hokage invites you to enter the village, but before that, you need to surrender your weapons. Point 35. The Whirlpool nodded, no nonsense, and directly took off his own ninja bag and threw it to the other party. The others followed suit and quickly disarmed themselves. Can I watch it now? He asked. The other party nodded, and then the 4 came to them. BEDB, the captain said. Okay, please come with me. With that said, the other ninjas dispersed, and the team entered Konoha with a whirlpool of 4. After entering it, the 4 people began to look at it, and they were a little disappointed by this look. The sense of expectation for Konoha disappeared after seeing the real Konoha, because Konoha's real appearance and environment, it's far from what I imagined. Not to mention Wada Village, compared to other towns in Wada country, Konoha Village is slightly inferior, and it does not meet the evaluation of the first of the 5 rumored ninja villages at all. Perhaps seeing the disappointment on the faces of the 4 of them, the 4 members of Konoha's elite team frowned slightly, but didn't say much. Their task was to take Tien Nomura and his party to the Hokage building, but they didn't explain it. What responsibility? Konoha is not small, but not too big. It is not too far from the entrance of the village to the Hokage building. It took about 10 minutes to reach the destination. Advertisement entering the Hokage office. You can see 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato sitting in the main seat, 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen sitting on the sofa, and a red-haired woman. The red-haired woman is none other than the only whirlpool in Konoha village, Whirlpool Kushina. Uzumaki Kushina was the first to stand up after seeing the visitor. She was a little excited. It was the first time she saw her clan in so many years. It was no different from seeing a lost relative. Asked, "Are you surnamed Whirlpool? Are you from the Whirlpool tribe?" Vortex Gu naturally knew who the person in front of him was, and after hearing the words, he glanced at the others, and then he said calmly, "My name is Vortex 2, and I am indeed a member of the Uzumaki clan." The Uzumaki clan. How many people does the clan have now? Vortex Kushina asked again. This is not a secret, so the Whirlpool did not hide it, and said, "The family has more than 100 people, 39. Really, great, who is the patriarch?" She asked again. The Whirlpool also did not hide it, and said, "The patriarch is Lord Sha Yegwo." Please subscribe. Vortex Kushina looked disappointed. The Whirlpool nodded. Master Sha Yegwo's father is indeed Senior Kawano, Master Kushina. I remembered, it's Uncle Kawano's sister Sha Yegwo, right? Vortex Kushina frowned and thought hard, then her eyes lit up. However, the Whirlpool shook his head. We're here to negotiate with Konoha, and the Patriarch did not order it, and the Patriarch can also intervene in this matter. 99. Is that so? Then, did Sister Nasa Yegwo have anything to say? Vortex Kushina asked expectantly. Master Sha Yegwo, Chapter 260 Warning and Claims, for subscription? Cough cough. At this time, Namikaze Minato coughed and said with a smile. The original guests, please sit down first. I already know the purpose of your trip, so can you tell me what Tanokura wants to do? Hearing the words, the Whirlpool bowed slightly to Namikaze Minato, and then said in a neither humble nor arrogant tone, because your village sent ninjas into Tien village to carry out an assassination mission, and now the ninjas in your village have been captured by us, so now your village needs to give us an explanation. Explain? The smile on Namikaze Minato's face faded, and he was silent for a moment before saying, You took in Konoha's rebellious Hyuga branch house and Uchiha clan. This is a major incident that hurt Konoha's interests, so we have reason to believe that TNG the village deliberately turned against Konoha. We sent our staff to eliminate the village's rebellion. This is the normal behavior of Shinobi village. Normal behavior. The Vortex Scorpion smiled inexplicably, and then formed a scroll from his arm and handed it to the Konoha shinobi who brought them in, saying, This is a written notice given to Konoha by the leader of our field village, asking Konoha's Hokage big people look over. The Konoha shinobi handed the scroll to Namikaze Minato, who took it and opened it and frowned deeply. The notice is very simple, nothing more than some warnings and demands for compensation from Konoha. The tone is very severe, expressing anger at Konoha's sending ninjas to Tiano village to assassinate and destroy, and at the same time, there are solemn statements and warnings, warning that if Konoha does not pay compensation, and Tanokura will wage war on Konoha. If another small ninja village said this, Konoha would only take it as a joke. If he was informed like this before he knew the true power of TNG village, Konoha would also not take it seriously, but now Konoha has known the strength of Tien Jamura, they could not turn a blind eye to the harsh wording in this notice. The scroll was quickly read, and then handed to 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, with the same expression as Namikaze Minato, and Sarutobi Hiruzen's brows furrowed. After a while, Sarutobi Hiruzen said, Your village's actions are very rude, it is obvious that you harbored Konoha's rebellion first, this action is because Konoha is the enemy, and Konoha's reaction is reasonable, so there are in view of this, we need Guikun to give an explanation instead. Namikaze Minato nodded slightly in support. The Whirlpool seems to have expected them to say this, so he said, The rebellion of your village has nothing to do with us. After entering the village of Tien, they will automatically be different from their original identities. Now they are from the village of Tien. Villagers, not some Konoha's rebellion, so we don't agree with your village's statement. As he said that, he glanced at Namikaze Minato and said solemnly, In addition, since your actions have already caused damage to the village of Tien, so if you do not explain and compensate for this, then sneak into the village of Tien. Those ninjas, we'll get rid of them. Advertisement Namikaze Minato heard the words, frowned, and said solemnly, This matter is very important, we need to discuss it. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded and said, You are guests from afar, you can rest in the village first, and we will let you know after we have discussed the results. However, the Whirlpool shook his head. No need, We are here this time, just to inform you that your village will have half a month to consider it, and after half a month, our TNG village will deal with it according to our own methods. This matter, then, farewell. They were sent here mainly to put pressure on Konoha. As for how far they can do it, it depends on the actual situation. Obviously, the purpose of exerting pressure has been achieved now, and the rest is to see how Konoha reacts. These things are not what they need to consider. And many more. Uzumaki Kushina suddenly said, "Can you tell me the current situation of the Uzumaki family?" Hearing the words, the whirlpool looked a little complicated. He didn't like Konoha, and although he didn't know Uzumaki Kushina, he also heard about it. If a normal family member asks this kind of question, he may tell you directly, but this obviously involves the family's secrets, so he can only refuse. "I'm sorry, it's about family secrets. I can't tell you more. If you want to know, you can go to Tien village as a guest, and the family will entertain you when the time comes." Is that so? Vortex Kushina was a little disappointed, but after hearing what the other party said, she could only give up. The whirlpool said, "Then, our mission is completed, and your village has only half a month to consider it. Goodbye." For flowers. After saying that, he turned around and left. Anyway, the task has been completed, and they have seen the current situation of Konoha, which is not in line with their imagination, so they have no mood to go shopping. If there is time, it is better to go back earlier. Namikaze Minato opened his mouth to speak, but in the end he didn't hold back. Advertisement Tien Jamura is indeed very powerful, and it has not yet reached the point where the entire Konoha is afraid of it. After all, there has been no real collision, and no one knows what the result will be, and Konoha is still nominally the strongest in the ninja world. The village, of course, has the pride that it should have, and it is naturally impossible to be frightened by a few words. After the whirlpool Tien and others left, Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen took a breath and slowly exhaled. It seems that Tanemura wants to use the topic to play. Lord Third Generation, do you think it is very likely that Tanemura and Konoha will go to war? On this point, it depends on Sarutobi Hiruzen. After all, he is old and sophisticated, and his prediction of this situation is much deeper than Namikaze Minato's experience. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a while after hearing the words, and then said helplessly, "I can feel that Tien Nomura is forcing Konoha to take the initiative to do something with them." Namikaze Minato nodded, and he felt the same way. "If this is the case, we should be more cautious," he said. "Can't." Sarutobi Hiruzen refused without thinking. "Please subscribe." Inch. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded. "That's true, but Kakashi and the others are still in the hands of those in Tanokura, and we have to find a way to rescue them." Namikaze Minato thought for a while. "If it doesn't work, I'll do it myself." Namikaze Minato shook his head helplessly and sighed. At this time, his heart was quite heavy. He thought that the task of being sure of everything had failed, and he still left a handle, which made Konoha seem very passive. There is no reason for Hokage to take action on this kind of thing. Let's discuss it first. After all, we have to look at other people's opinions. At this time, we must deal with it carefully. Yeah, it's not something that can be done easily. Chapter 261 The Horror of the Konoha Mission. Please subscribe. Konoha is quite embarrassed now, and I don't know if it is too self-confident. The two elite teams sent out have been arrested without saying that the mission has been completed. Difficult to accept. When a ninja performs a mission, there is a high chance of death. This is known to any ninja. After all, ninjas live a life of licking blood. But death and being captured are two different things. The former may be said to be incompetent. If you die, you will die. This is the destination of ninjas. But in the latter case, it is not as simple as lack of ability. This is obviously because Tien Jiguo has already prepared, and it is even possible to arrange means in advance, otherwise it will not be captured instead of killed. Konoha's people can see this, and it is precisely because of this that Konoha became more cautious after receiving protests from Tien village. That's right, in Konoha's point of view, that stern letter is a protest, and it's good to read it as a warning. That kind of thing is completely a joke, and it's a fool to take it seriously. Therefore, based on this judgment, Konoha didn't care about what was said in the document. When the time came to start a war against Konoha, no one would believe it. It took a lot of heart to make it. Decision? Konoha, that is the strongest ninja village in the ninja world. After 3 ninja world battles, it did not fall, but still stands at the top of the ninja world. How could it be threatened casually? But on the other hand, Tien Jamura's warning is indeed effective, because they are still holding Konoha's 2 elite squads. These 2 squads cover Konoha's major ninjas. They are very afraid some secrets of his own ninja were leaked out, so he had to be careful at this time. Even if a village looks very united as a whole, subdivided into families and villages, there are still some differences in their own plans. Therefore, in the eyes of those ninjas who have done so, this matter is the order of the village, and we are right to implement it, but now that the possibility of leakage of family secrets is involved, the ninjas cannot accept it anyway. Since this is the case, it is natural to send more people to Tien village to bring people back. But in Konoha's view, this is just a mission failure, nothing at all. Now we must ensure the possibility of war. Tien village is not weak, and has the ability to fight Konoha, so how to ensure the situation is not deterioration, and at the same time being able to bring back the 2 elite squads, is the top priority of the problem. There are some differences between the 2 sides, but the purpose is the same, but it is not so simple to negotiate a result. First of all, they really don't want to have a war with Tien village, which is not unacceptable to Konoha. but war will damage Konoha's interests first, which is definitely not acceptable. Secondly, in Konoha's high-level opinion, this kind of thing can be solved by other intrusions. Since Tien Jimura did not kill the two elite teams in the first time, it shows that they themselves have some scruples. Advertisement therefore, the final result of the negotiation was to delay for a period of time, and then send its own embassy team to TNG village to negotiate with Tianjiguo. Konoha's executives felt that delaying the time was an attitude of expressing their dissatisfaction, and sending the embassy also expressed their importance to Tien village. I believe that as long as the people in Tien village are not fools, they will definitely see Konoha. The intention is to find yourself a step down. But they didn't expect it. Shi Shangyang had long expected that they would have such an idea, and they were waiting for their people to come. So it was almost half a month in the blink of an eye, and Konoha's mission finally arrived at Tien village before the deadline notified by Tien village. Just like the two elite teams, the Konoha mission members who came to TNG village immediately opened their eyes after seeing the prosperity and wealth of TNG village. In the ninja world, there is actually a village that is richer and stronger than Konoha. No, this can no longer be called a village, and they can't even find an exact adjective to describe the city. All in all, it's an eye-opener. Shi Shangyang knew about the arrival of Konoha and his party, and he did not refuse their visit, and even received them generously. And his appearance immediately made the faces of Konoha's people show a look of horror, which was no different from the expression of Hitaki Kakashi and the others when they saw Shi Shangyang's face. There is no way to hide it. You are Shi Shangyang. Among the people sent by Konoha, the leader is Hyuga Hizashi from the branch house of the Hyuga clan. He represents the attitude of the Hyuga clan in the village. After all, it is about the traitors of the Hyuga branch house and the Uchihas who have betrayed the village. A ninja person can do it, and it has to be a person with a high status. So, the burden fell on Hyuga Hizashi. But he would never have thought that the person who received them in Tianjikun was actually Shi Shangyang, the well-known rebel in the village. Regarding the information about Shi Shangyang, everyone in Konoha knows about it. Just the fact that Orochimaru defected and his appearance on the Night of Nine Tails brought a sense of powerlessness to the village. This level of powerlessness even a shinobi village like Konoha has no good way. Advertisement. Now I can imagine how wonderful the expressions of Shi Shangyang, Hyuga Hizashi and others will be when I see them here. Shi Shangyang received them in the chief's office. He didn't need to say anything, someone would help him introduce his identity. Everyone, in front of you is our TNG village's warrant, Lord Shi Shangyang, please pay attention to your attitude. 35. The last time Konoha's mission was to accompany him this time, and after seeing everyone's reaction, he reminded him aloud. This time, the expressions on the faces of the people who came from Konoha were even more exciting. Please subscribe. Meeting Shi Shangyang in this 3.1 was enough for them to be shocked. Now that Shi Shangyang is the leader of TNG village, it makes them even more incredible. He smiled slightly and said, "Everyone, did you bring any good news here?" In Shi Shangyang's eyes, there were cards on these people, blue, purple, and gold, which was enough to illustrate the mentality of these people at this time. Shi Shangyang naturally took it unceremoniously, except for Gentle Fist Revolving Heaven, which is a golden card. Other cards are not very helpful to Shi Shangyang. Drop. Congratulations to the host for getting the ability card Gentle Fist Revolving Heaven. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket drop. Congratulations to host. Close black lens bracket chapter 262. Go back and prepare for war. Please subscribe. Konoha and his group, who had not recovered from the shock just now, were either stunned or solemn, all staring at Shi Shangyang, as if they wanted to see the flowers on his face. Shi Shangyang squinted slightly, the smile on his face remained the same, waiting for their response. Call. Hyuga Hizashi took a deep breath, first came back to his senses, looked at Shi Shangyang with a very dignified expression, and then said solemnly, "I didn't expect that the leader of TNG village would be you. In this way, everything can be done. Makes sense." "What does it make sense?" Shi Shangyang asked back with a smile. "From the betrayal of Konoha by those in the Hyuga branch house, to the betrayal of the Uchiha clan. In fact, you have planned all these things, right?" Hyuga Hizashi asked. Shi Shangyang smiled and shook his head. It wasn't planned in advance. As he spoke, he explained, "The defection of the Hyuga branch house was at best out of their own will. I just pushed them behind. This is not a pre-planned plan. You have one thing clear, if they don't have this kind of thinking, others can't deceive them at all." Hyuga Hizashi's face was not very good looking. He gritted his teeth slightly, and then said, 14. What about Uchiha? Uchiha? I planned this in advance. Shi Shangyang admitted without hesitation. Hyuga Hizashi's expression was stagnant. He didn't expect that Shi Shangyang would not deny it. If he thought about it, he didn't know what to say for a while. "Okay, there is no objection to this kind of thing now. I want to know, have you come here this time? Have you thought about how to solve this matter?" Shi Shangyang said. Hyuga Hizashi took a deep breath, and then his expression became serious. He took out a scroll from his arms, and offered it with both hands. This is a document that Lord Hokage handed over to the leader of Tien village. It contains the specific requirements of our Konoha. Please read it. Advertisement. No matter what Shi Shangyang has done before, but now his identity is Tien Nomura's warrant, then Hyuga Hizashi must treat it with the right attitude, otherwise it will be very rude. This kind of thing has almost become a thing among the ninja in instinct. Shi Shangyang took it over and opened it, with more and more smiles on his face. After a while, he closed the scroll and said calmly, "In order not to waste your time and mine, Senior Hizashi should take your people back first." "What do you mean?" Hyuga Hizashi asked. Shi Shangyang shook his head, wiped his hand in front of him, and the scroll became a piece of powder, and then heard Shi Shangyang say, "I mean, you can go back and prepare for the war." Hyuga Hizashi's face was ugly, he felt neglected and angry at the other party's rudeness. In short, Shi Shangyang's attitude was difficult to accept. "Why?" he asked in a low voice. Shi Shangyang just chuckled and said with a normal expression, "First of all, the 2 ninja teams you send are impossible for us in Tien Village, and secondly, you haven't said anything about compensation, and it's all here. At times, Hokage in your village will only play against me, which is very boring. Also, please don't think of TNG Village as another ninja village, and don't think TNG Village will obey the unspoken rules of the ninja world. We don't care these, so please leave and don't waste our time." "Years, are you serious?" he asked solemnly. Shi Shangyang smiled and nodded. "Of course, I won't joke with you about this kind of thing." 35. Hyuga Hizashi let out a breath, then nodded, and bowed slightly. "Excuse me, I will take your words back." Shi Shangyang watched them leave with a smile, and did not say anything to entertain them. 10. Go to inform everyone to the conference room, the war with Konoha is about to start. "Yes, sir." The Whirlpool did not talk nonsense, and left directly to inform the important people in the village. Advertisement. It didn't take long for the senior management of TNG Village to gather in the conference room. Shi Shangyang immediately informed everyone of his decision. After learning of the decision, the expressions of the others, except Rinkai Nohara, were very calm. "Lin, it seems that your wedding date will be delayed a little bit. The village will start a war with Konoha recently. It is estimated that the village will not have enough time to deal with your wedding with Obito," Shi Shangyang said. Nohara Rin nodded slightly, sighed and didn't say anything. Her mood was very complicated. She had long expected this day to come, but when this day really appeared, she was still a little hard to accept. One is Konoha, who gave birth to her and raised her, and the other is Tien Village, who she fought for. The war between these 2 villages, which have special feelings for her, made her very embarrassed. Fortunately, she is an adult and knows her status, so she did not show any rejection. Orochimaru added his lower lip and grinned. "Do you really want to do this, Yang-kun? It's not a good choice to meet Konoha at this time. Please subscribe." Shi Shangyang waved his hand. "This is my decision. It's not like you don't know what the situation in the village is now. Although the ninjas in the village are not as good as you in some aspects, they are more comprehensive, and this is just one time. In a conflict of the nature of the war, the village does not have to use all its power, so it was decided as such. This time, it can be considered that the Uchiha family was roasted on the fire. They had only come here not long ago, and the family had just stabilized. Although they are quite satisfied with Tianji-kun's arrangement, they are definitely not willing to make them bear the cost of the war at this time." Shi Shangyang shrugged, and then said to the others, "The Vortex family, the Hyuga family, and the Uchihas, you don't have to bear too much of this war. Each family only needs to arrange a few stronger ninjas to come out, and the rest will be it is up to the village to handle. 35. Seeing that he has made a decision, the ninjas present can only agree. Although Shi Shangyang usually respects other people's opinions, sometimes he will make a decision in one word, so when he has made a decision, other one cannot change the result at all. Naoto Hyuga nodded quickly and said, "That's true. The village has also taken good care of our Hyuga family over the years. Since the war is about to start, we should take more responsibility." Hearing this, Whirlpool Shay shook his head and said solemnly, "Master Chief, the Vortex clan and the village are one body. Since it is a war, our Uzumaki clan is naturally responsible, so please let us send more strength. We Uzumaki family want to pay more for the village, otherwise we will be sorry for the care of our Vortex family over the years." Shi Shangyang shook his head and said helplessly, "So, how long has it been since you cared about the village? Don't you know how strong the village is now?" He, it's good that you have such confidence," Orochimaru said. Chapter 263 Konoha's Fierce Response. Please subscribe. The communication between Konoha and Tien no village failed. This is a failure of official communication, and Shi Shangyang also directly said that Konoha could start preparing for war. At this point, Konoha also knew that things seemed to be gone. There is room for a turnaround, and for the present, the only way left to go is war. Konoha is reluctant to this. There will be a war with other villages at this time. If it is Shounen Village, it will be fine, but when the target is a force like Tiano Village, Konoha understands very well that after the war, Konoha is bound to suffer huge losses. At that time, other ninja villages will not miss such a good opportunity, and they will surely rush forward like hungry wolves, which may trigger the Fourth Ninja War. This is definitely not what Konoha wants to see. But Tien Village's attitude was very firm, and even refused Konoha's second communication request, and directly expelled the people they sent to Tien Village for the second time. This attitude has been shown at this time. Everything. So, what now? In Hokage's office, Namikaze Minato frowned and said these words. He can make decisions and orders, but even in his Hokage identity, he dare not give such orders lightly, only after complete preparation. The expressions of the people present were complicated, some were solemn, some were calm, and some were full of anger. They always faced the aggressive attitude of Tianjimura, and they were angry in their hearts, but they had to be afraid of each other, because the truth was if you want to start a war, the price will definitely not be small. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen looked sad and frowned, like an old farmer who was worried because of the sharp drop in the farmer's harvest this year, and only said after breathing out the smoke, "Since the other party is Shi Shangyang, it seems that this time war is inevitable." To be honest, when the information that Shi Shangyang is the leader of Tien village came back, one of Konoha's high-level officials was one of them, and they almost didn't lose their jaws, especially third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. He was quite regretful, and felt that if he had known this was the result, he should have punished Danzo severely at the very beginning. It was because of Danzo's fear of Uchiha and his own selfishness that Shi Shangyang was forced to the opposite side of the village. Advertisement: if he had known that Shi Shangyang had such talent and ability, he would have kept him no matter what he said, and he would do everything he could to influence the opponent with the will of fire, making him the cornerstone of the stability and prosperity of the village. It's a pity that things are unpredictable, and he would never have thought that the kid who had the blood of Sharingan who betrayed the village at the beginning turned out to be the leader of a powerful ninja village like Tien Jiguo, and he established it from nothing. Tien village, this is even more shocking. Now Shi Shangyang's evaluation in third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen is even close to that of Senju Hashirama who created Konoha, which is enough to show his fancy for Shi Shangyang. It's a pity that no matter what, these things have already passed, and the things in the past cannot be changed, so now he can only focus on the things in front of him, and how to solve the immediate threat of war is what he has to do. Oh, I didn't expect that kid would have such a deep hatred for Konoha. It seems that I did wrong at the beginning, and I didn't act up to Danzo in time, which made him resent the village. When he said this, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was full of melancholy, and he was worried about what was in front of him. Someone retorted, "This kind of thing is not the responsibility of the third generation. Shi Shangyang has an evil blood successor like Sharingan, so the emotions will become so extreme. Even if it is not Lord Danzo, he will eventually be because of other things. There is absolutely no need for the third generation to take this responsibility for betraying the village. That's right, people in Uchiha are like this, and it's not like everyone doesn't know it. It was like this in Uchiha Madara decades ago, and now the entire Uchiha clan has defected because of it. It's the same way, Konoha can't tolerate them at all, and even Uchiha is like this. For Konoha, it is a safety hazard in itself. I think it's fine now, Uchiha's defection just saves Konoha's chance." Someone agreed. Indeed. That's right. Lord Third Generation should not feel that he did something wrong at the time. It turns out that Uchiha is not worthy of the village's trust. Everyone talked a lot, but in summary, what they said was nothing more than an attack on the Uchiha family who had defected. Anyway, the Uchihas have defected from the village now, so even if they say this, it is impossible for anyone to do anything. On the contrary, the hatred of Uchiha in the village is now basically a consensus among the high-level people. Advertisement: if it weren't for the fact that Jinchuriki in the village was the adopted son of Lord Hokage, and his brother Uchiha Itachi defected alone, which attracted most of the attention, perhaps the current Jinchuriki would be hated by everyone. So now it seems that this war cannot be avoided? Namikaze Minato asked in a deep voice. The scene was quiet, and then someone said, "We Konoha have survived 3 ninja wars without falling, and after these years of recuperation, so even in the face of an opponent like Tien village, we don't have to be afraid, because we completely have enough power to deal with the hostility of the other side." In fact, at this time, everyone is very clear in their hearts that war is unavoidable, and the discussion here is just to let everyone speak some scenes and express their attitudes. No one present is a fool. They are well aware of the current situation, so no one will foolishly say anything against the war, because that is not necessary at all. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed, shook his head slightly, and then said softly, "Konoha's attitude is to avoid war, not to avoid war, so since this matter was provoked by Tianjimura, then, by Li Jiao, should use Tianji Mirai to calm Konoha's anger." He didn't look at Namikaze Minato, who only nodded after hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's words, and spoke again after a moment of silence. "I agree with Lord Third Generation. At this stage, there is no room for further negotiation, and war is indeed inevitable, but it's a pity that the people who were dispatched to Tien village before. The most unfortunate thing about Namikaze Minato is Hitaki Kakashi. He has always regarded Kakashi as a successor to train him, but now he did not expect that he would be damaged in Tien village because of a mission. At this time, he had no hope for the survival of those people, and his heart also filled with anger, so he said solemnly, 'Listen to my order, from now on the village will enter a state of war. Everyone, go back and prepare, let's face the war.'" Yes. End chapter 264. The confrontation before the war begins. Please subscribe. Konoha wants to start a war with Tianjimura. The news cannot be hidden. Tianjimura can tell, but Konoha doesn't know how many spies are hiding in it. Any slight disturbance will be interpreted by those who care. After that, the news that the two villages were going to start a war spread throughout the entire ninja world in a very short period of time. It can't be said that it has spread throughout the entire ninja world. That's a bit exaggerated, but the other big ninja villages are aware of the news, and now the news has been placed on the desks of their respective shadows. It is difficult for outsiders to know how these Genin villages will react, but the attitude of waiting and seeing is the same. The 5 great ninja villages had fought wars with each other, and they all knew a little bit about each other. The basic situation was still very clear. Now, with the exception of Kirigakure, the other three Dainin villages have all cast curious glances at Tien Nomura. In the ninja world, there is actually a small ninja village who dares to challenge Konoha. What kind of spirit is this? All three are shocked. Moreover, the information obtained by the three companies showed that the war was not initiated by Konoha, but by Tien Nomura, which was very outrageous. In a small ninja village, there is actually a single amount of war against Konoha, the strongest ninja village in the ninja world. This is a kind of behavior that is almost insane, but neither side has denied it, and it depends on both sides. It seems that this war is really unavoidable. This time, Sand Shinobi, Cloud Shinobi and Rock Shinobi immediately became interested. They were eager to know more information, so the spies and intelligence personnel who entered the two villages for a while was like crossing a river. The Crucian Carp is generally more. But the strange thing is that as time went by, after a few days, the intelligence personnel who went to TNG village seemed to be sinking into the sea. There was no news, no movement at all, such a strange and bizarre disappearance. Let the three families know the power of TNG-kun. It is precisely because of this that the three clans stopped spying on Tien village's intelligence in a timely manner, and instead focused their attention on Konoha, in an attempt to learn more information about this matter from him. Whether it is Tien Nomura or Konoha, it is clear that war is inevitable. Gradually, in the border area between the two countries, a confrontation has emerged, but the final battle has not yet begun. Advertisement both sides are testing. Konoha is the prudence passed down by the ancestors, BEDB, and they obviously will not take the initiative to attack until they get accurate information. On Tien Jikun's side, after all, it was the first foreign war after the establishment of the village, so it was normal to be careful. Compared with Konoha, Tien Nomura lacks experience in warfare, so no matter how careful it is to deal with it, it is not too much. What Shi Shangyang needs is a victory. He will not destroy Konoha, but he needs to beat Konoha to the ground and Kakesing, so as to meet his requirements. With a cautious personality, Shi Shangyang dragged Orochimaru out of the laboratory. Among all the high-level officials of TNG village, only this guy has experience in presiding over a war, so this war was handed over to Shi Shangyang. Orochimaru. Orochimaru is a little reluctant. With his knowledge of the village, this war with Konoha is sure to be won, and there is absolutely no possibility of defeat, just because he knows too much about the power of the Master Tanemura. So in this case, he didn't want to care about this kind of thing at all, and he was naturally unhappy when he was pulled out of Shi Shangyang's laboratory. You can think of it like this, it's quite a revenge on Konoha. Think about it, didn't you ever dream of becoming a Hokage? When did the fire of this dream go out? Was it by third Hokage Sarutobi? That old guy Hiruzen was doused? Then prove it to them now. Even if you Orochimaru betrayed Konoha, you are still a qualified high-ranking person, and your contribution to Tanokura is no more than Hokage's to Konoha. The contribution is small. Shi Shangyang gave him a bloody talk. Orochimaru just snorted coldly and his face was cold, but Shi Shangyang could tell that this guy was really moved by these words. So, this war is left to you. As the leader of the village, I can't let me go into battle for such trivial matters, right? The opposite Konoha didn't even go to Hokage, so I have to keep my identity, Shi Shangyang said. HMPH, put away your rhetoric, I accept this task. Orochimaru sneered. Ha ha ha. Shi Shangyang laughed and patted Orochimaru on the back while laughing. Every time he patted Orochimaru, Orochimaru staggered. I knew you were the type of cold-hearted and warm-hearted guy. Every time it came to a critical moment, you were unexpectedly trustworthy. Advertisement Orochimaru's face twitched. If he hadn't consciously beat Shi Shangyang, and he would have gotten revenge with Shi Shangyang, he might have bitten a snake now. He was very aware of Shi Shangyang's small-mindedness. That kind of small-mindedness was nothing to others, but it was very obvious to him. He had suffered a lot in the past, so Orochimaru didn't say much even though his back hurt when he was photographed. Hey, the village will give you 1,000 ninjas. This is the combat power selected by the village in order to cope with this war. Don't expect me to give you more people, although the Konoha side still doesn't know that they will be dispatched. How many people, but I'm sure it won't exceed 500 people in the early stage, 55. After speaking, he paused and said, so in this case, if you still can't win this war, then you will accept the punishment from the village yourself, and I won't help you at that time, 99. Rules are rules. TNG village has its own complete system of rewards and punishments. This system is deeply rooted in the people of the village. The key is fairness, so if Orochimaru really did not win this battle, then even in his identity will also be punished. Orochimaru grinned and said to Shi Shangyang, as the commander-in-chief of the battlefield, I order you, Yang-kun, to stay away from me. HMPH, it's impossible for this kind of thing to happen, so now, am I in charge here? Orochimaru sneered. Understood. Now that the war has been handed over to Orochimaru, he doesn't have to care too much, just learn about it when necessary. Please subscribe. Shi Shangyang nodded. Shi Shangyang's mouth twitched. He didn't expect this guy to do such a thing to himself so quickly, but he didn't say anything, just snorted twice, pointed to Orochimaru, and disappeared. In this regard, he has absolute confidence. You guy. Chapter 265 The Many Advantages of TNG Village. Please subscribe. Konoha's response did not exceed Shi Shangyang's expectations. It was exactly as he first guessed. Konoha was very cautious about the war. After the initial confrontation between the two sides, He seemed to feel that he had figured out some information, and then Konoha's side they dispatched manpower and began the first tentative harassment. There were not many people, just a few teams, number 20 or 30. Following a certain route, they began to touch the frontline stronghold of TNG village. But the people of Konoha would not have thought that their information had already been leaked, and Tien Jamura had even mastered all the information on the battlefield, including where the Konoha base was, how many people were there, and who was in charge, whose information was given to master by Tien Nomura. No one knew what Orochimaru thought, but then he ordered that a team of the same number be sent to meet the enemy. These ninjas who were ordered by Orochimaru, although not the most elite ninjas in the village, are also the mainstay of the village's combat power, comparable to Genin. This is no exaggeration at all. The reason why all the information on the front line was taken by the master of Tien Village is that Tien Village put a small bug called the monitor bug here. This is a small thing recently developed by Shi Shangyang and Orochimaru, inspiration and raw material. From the last time Shi Shangyang got the parasite larva. The parasite larvae were arranged by Shi Shangyang to cultivate on several self-shaped human puppets. Under the rapid growth, this batch of parasites has been reproduced for several generations. Several special insect species were born, and Shi Shangyang arranged them into the ninja system of Tien Village. One of them is the surveillance bug. This bug is no different from ordinary small flying bugs. The chakra in the body is extremely weak. Even a powerful sensory ninja will not notice the abnormality of this bug. And the function of this kind of bug is to carry out chakra wave connection point to point with each other, forming a weak but extremely tight chakra net. This kind of chakra net has only one function, that is, any wind and grass will be caught by the chakra net, and then through another area, the same group of monitoring insects will be able to detect the movement detected by the chakra net. Convert it into a normal image and send it out, so as to play a role in insight. This is much more useful than any camera. Shi Shangyang is in this area, but he has invested tens of millions of surveillance insects, so no matter what the two sides do, it is impossible to ignore it in Shi Shangyang. This kind of surveillance also exists on Orochimaru's side, and it is precisely because of this that Orochimaru regards this kind of war as a smooth war without any accident, and there is absolutely no danger at all. Squad 1, Squad 2, Squad 3, Squad 4, Squad 5, and in 5 minutes, you will reach the enemy. Now disperse, turn on your monitors, I need you to wipe them all out. Orochimaru said through a special device, issued an order in the rear base. Advertisement. This is already a bit of Shi Shangyang's level of war in the previous world. He has always been clear that war is about intelligence and information, as well as logistics, and these are precisely the advantages and strengths of Tien Jamura. In the ears of the 25 Tanakamura ninjas in these 5 teams, there are bugs that have always been less than the size of a grain of rice. This bug is firmly attached to the ear wall and can receive a special wave. It will be transmitted among the same kind, and then through the vibration of the wings, the same sound will be emitted. This is their means of transmitting information remotely. It's not that Shi Shangyang didn't develop something like radio communication, but it's still relatively primitive. To upgrade that kind of thing, it needs a complete and supporting industrial system. This kind of scientific research and production starting from scratch is extremely time-consuming, and there are not many talents in this area in the village so far. So this research and development has been temporarily put on hold, and only the most basic communication devices have been made. Therefore, Shi Shangyang decided to take the next thing, and decided to adopt the own things of the ninja world, and then develop this kind of communication worm just like he developed the monitoring worm. Clear. The 5 teams of Tien Village Ninja responded in a low voice, and then they quickly dispersed in teams and began to move forward. During this process, none of them put down the special goggles on their foreheads. This thing is what Shi Shangyang said to Yugura last time. It was made according to the characteristics of white eyes. It has the ability to white eyes, but it is only as a weakened version. For flowers. But even the weakened version, in such a battlefield, is an amazing weapon. So if there is no accident, the ninjas sent by Konoha were soon discovered by the ninjas of Tiano village. According to Orochimaru's request, they dispersed, and then launched an attack on their respective targets at the first time. The ninjas of Tanokura have attacked with ninjutsu as well as shuriken and kunai. Their ninjutsu does not pursue the size of the power, but from the very beginning, it is aimed at the killing effect, so they are all some sea-level ninjutsu, but all have one characteristic, that is, the speed is extremely fast, making people unable to react in time. Puff puff. Call. Wow. Advertisement wind style, water style, fire style, intertwined in an instant, suddenly appeared on the road of the Konoha shinobi. No matter how fast the response of the Konoha shinobi was, there would always be a momentary pause, and this is that the momentary pause was an opportunity seized by the ninjas of Tien Jiguo. What? Hateful. People are there. In just one face-to-face, the Tanamura ninjas killed 6 or 7 people on Konoha's side, causing them to lose their combat effectiveness at once, or simply die. Ninjas are good at sneak attack and assassination, which is more vividly reflected in the ninjas of Tien village. Fuma Shuriken Shadow Clone. Fever and diarrhea. I can't hold it anymore. I will start with 4 chapters for now. If tomorrow is better, I will update it earlier. Sorry. Inch. The next moment, the ground under the feet of this row of people began to vibrate violently, and then the stones were lifted up like an earthquake, instantly disrupting the rhythm of Konoha's supply. For a time, a lot of ninjutsu attacked the people in Tien village. But the ninjas in TNG village did not evade, but quickly formed the seal, and then opened their hands to complete the combined seal with the hands of the left and right. This row of 10 people stood in front, and the seal was completed in an instant. I have to say that the ninjas on Konoha's side also reacted very quickly. The first time they saw the enemy, they quickly retreated, and then dispersed, and started to fight back in groups of 3 and 3. Wind-style vacuum bomb technique, combined ninja technique and earth dragon rolling technique. Fire-style great fireball technique. Chapter 266 Wipe out the Konoha squad, please subscribe. I saw those ninjas on the TN village side, holding hands with each other, maintaining the combination of ninja skills. Starting from 3 meters ahead of their feet, the earth seemed to be drawn with a brush and ink. The line is like a line. The back was calm, but the front of the line was a tumult. Boom. The ground shook endlessly. Whether it was a tree or a stone, it seemed as if it had been thrown up at this moment. The tree swayed, and the ground was like a surging wave. From that line, the line was clear, and the ninjas in TNG village were not affected in any way. But the Konoha shinobi practitioners who are included in this technique are now having problems even standing. Not good. Rewind. Konoha's ninjas were shocked. They didn't expect that the opponent would come up with such a skill, and they would be able to combine ninjutsu, but they had never seen such a combined ninjutsu. The joint ninjutsu of 157, that several people form seals with each other, chakra together with each other, really opened their eyes, but then a sense of horror was produced, and they saw the line where the two sides meet. The line started, extending to the ground for nearly 100 meters on the side of Konoha shinobi, when it suddenly collapsed. Boom. The shaking of the ground became more and more terrifying. Even if Konoha wanted to retreat, it was too late. In the end, except for a small number of people who had a foresight to retreat, the rest of the people followed the collapsed earth and fell directly into the deep pit of the earth. In an instant, dust flew into the sky, and along with the screams of the Konoha shinobi, a huge deep pit appeared on the ground. The deep pit is a square with a length of nearly 100 meters. Because it appeared so abruptly, many people on the Konoha shinobi side did not respond, and fell together with the ground collapse. Just at this moment, the ninjas on the Tanokura side, those ninjas in the back row who did not perform joint ninjutsu, came to the surrounding of the deep pit in an instant, and then formed their own seals and slapped the ground with both hands. Earth-style earth without mantra. Boom. Under the feet of several people, the ground seemed to come alive, and large tracts of soil and stones rolled down like a mudslide, but it took a few breaths to bury most of the deep pit. Advertisement. The ninjutsu used by several people are all B-level, and it is considered a powerful ninjutsu, but if it is one-on-one, it will definitely not have such an effect, but several people use it together, especially with the cooperation of the front row companions. The effect of ninjutsu has reached the level of the Legion. The so-called Legion level is the movement and destructive power caused by dozens or hundreds of people using the same ninjutsu at the same time in the ninja war. Although they are not so exaggerated now, the effect is not bad at all. There are several teams on the Konoha side, and less than 30% of the people escaped, and the rest were buried in the huge pit and mudslides, and there was no possibility of surviving. From the meeting between the two sides, the ninjas on the side of the village of the sky attacked, and after the ground collapsed, the ninjas of the village of heaven used earth style to bury the pit. The enemy with white-eyed goggles is the first, and then there is a perfect cooperation between each other. It is not difficult for the people on the Tien village side to reach such a level. In fact, others don't know, but the ninjas in Tanokura know very well that they have made several plans before this, and they even anticipated how the Konoha shinobi will react after meeting, so this is done. A raid was really nothing to them. After all this was done, the joint ninjutsu was over, and the ninjas in Tanokura looked at each other, and then performed their own flashing techniques, chasing after the Konoha shinobi who had escaped just now. These Konoha shinobi fighters who fled back before, and now flee due to the huge movement and the death of their companions, did not escape the sight of the Tanomura ninjas at this time. As a trial battle, they naturally did not want to give up, let alone to let the enemy escape. This battle must show the majesty of TNG village. On the other hand, seeing the few people who escaped from Konoha, not to mention that they had no courage at this time, but they were really startled. They never imagined the TN village ninjas would be so ruthless, especially the special joint ninjutsu. This is completely a fantasy. They knew that Konoha lost this battle, but they had to send back the information they had just learned so that the village could take the initiative in the next battle. It's a pity that the idea is good, but the reality is cruel. With white-eyed goggles in hand, their whereabouts are like bright lights in the dark night, and they can't be hidden at all. Coupled with the ubiquitous surveillance insects in this area, their every small move was mastered by the frontline base behind Tien village. Under such circumstances, the remaining few people on Konoha's side were quickly blocked by the team of ninjas from Tiano village. Damn, I can't escape, but no matter what, this information must be passed back. A Konoha shinobi bit his fingers, made marks on his hands, and slapped the ground. Advertisement, summoning technique. Boom. The white smoke dissipated, and a ninja dog appeared. Without any hesitation, the man opened his mouth to tell what he had just found, but at the next moment, a thunder light suddenly fell from the sky, and the ninja dog shuddered. His eyes had turned into white smoke and dissipated. How come? The man was shocked, and just looked up. He saw a person floating in the sky, and his pupils shrank suddenly. The man floating in the sky is a ninja from Tien village. He has special incantations on his ribs, and the special clothes on his body allow him to condense a pair of chakra wings, thus floating in the air. Needless to say, the inspiration for this technique is naturally the Star Ninja Village. This technique was inspired by Shi Shangyang, and Orochimaru was in charge of perfecting it. This was the first time it was shown in battle. Go, yes, N. Just like that, in a roar, the remaining people in Konoha were wiped out, and no one was spared. Please subscribe. With the huge disparity between the numbers of the two sides, it is only a matter of time before the remaining people on the Konoha side are defeated. Naturally, the people of TNG village will not let these people go. At the same time, there were people who attacked, fully using their own advantages. After doing all of this, one of the TN village ninjas said, "Retreat, the people on Konoha's side should have noticed the movement here." 35. When the rest heard the words, they immediately launched an attack on the remaining Konoha shinobi. The man in the sky snorted lightly, and then swooped down. Everyone responded and flew back at a faster speed than when they came, not giving Konoha the slightest chance. Chapter 267 The Keen Intuition of Nara's Family. Please subscribe. When the people from TNG village exited the battlefield and returned, after a long while, Konoha's team reappeared on the battlefield, and then they saw the whole picture of the battlefield at this time. A large area of the forest here has been destroyed, especially the central area. The ground has collapsed towards the middle, and the collapsed place is more square, full of mud and gravel, and the environment is even more chaotic one slice. This level of technique, is it some kind of Earth-style forbidden technique? The people on Konoha's side couldn't help but be shocked. Have any survivors been found? The leader asked. No, only a few bodies have been found for the time being, and nothing else has been found, someone replied. Is there no body on the other side? The man asked again. The answer is still no, not even the traces left by the people of TN village were found. The leader looked solemn and said solemnly, "Clean up the scene and bring the dead back. The information here needs to be reported to the base as soon as possible." Yes. 14 The crowd responded, and then the crowd retreated with the corpses of their own side. The information was quickly reported to the top leaders of the front line. After learning of this result, the people on Konoha's side suddenly felt heavy, and obviously felt that this situation was abnormal. Even in the face of several other ninjas from the Great Ninja Village, it is impossible to have this result, but now they have not found any trace of the other party, and the people sent out from their own side are dead. Such a victory, the people on Konoha's side trembled. Peeping the leopard in the tube. This has already been the result on a small scale. If this is a full-scale battle, what will the final result be? The people on Konoha's side didn't dare to think about it. Such a result was definitely not something they were willing to bear. But the reality does not allow them to retreat. The war is provoked by the other side. In their opinion, Konoha is just a victim of this war, so in order to protect Konoha's interests, they must also win the final victory of the war. So no matter how dangerous the reality is, they must complete the plan. The final result of the negotiation was that Konoha sent manpower again, but this time, instead of rushing forward, he chose to harass from the side, so as to detect more usable intelligence. Advertisement they thought well, but the results surprised them. Because of the 6 teams they sent this time, there were 1 team on the front, 4 teams on the side, and even 1 team, which went directly to the rear of the TN village base, and wanted to approach the reconnaissance from there. But the result was no different from the last time. The 6 teams they sent out disappeared without a trace, almost without a sound. This time, not even the corpse was left behind. Only the chaotic battlefield shows the fierceness of the fighting at that time. How can that be? In the Konoha frontline base, someone made such an exclamation. The person in charge of the base is a member of the Nara clan, who happens to be Nara Shikuji. He is the squad leader of the Genin class and is also an assistant to Hokage. He has experienced the Third Ninja War. He has a wealth of battlefield experience and also has a wealth of command experience. These 2 temptations are from his hands, but in exchange for this result. Hearing the sound, Nara Luju frowned tightly. He didn't expect this result. It was completely different from what he imagined. Have you got any information now? He asked. Someone said, I haven't obtained any useful information. Judging from the limited battle traces, it seems that our actions have long been noticed by them. 35. Nara Luju squinted his eyes when he heard the words, but shook his head. No, it's not so simple to notice, but our actions are always under the surveillance of the other party. Someone subconsciously retorted. How could this be? We made a decision in the base, and there is no intelligence spy from TN village in the base, so how did our intelligence get lost? 99. Normal people would think this way, but Nara Lukisa is also a person with high IQ. He has already analyzed this point from the limited information. Otherwise, the manpower sent twice in a row cannot fail so directly. The second time, not even a corpse was left behind, which was obviously not normal. He frowned and thought, then stood up suddenly, with a solemn expression on his face. No, I'm sure now that our actions are being monitored by them all the time. Hearing him say this, everyone's heart sank, and some people subconsciously said, then, what method did the other party use? Ordinary ninjutsu is impossible to achieve this. 95. Nara Luju looked around. All the elites in the base were present, and he didn't doubt the loyalty of these people to Konoha, but now in this situation, he had to make the worst plan. Notify the Nara family, the Aburame family, and the Inuzuka family to gather. Yes. Advertisement. The crowd responded. Nara Shikahisa said again. Let's mobilize an elite team from the Hyuga family. Yes. 99 soon, the people he wanted were gathered in front of him. The three ninja tribes, Nara, Aburame, and Inazuka, also sent people this time, and now in front of him are all the three frontline people. What about Hyugas? Nara Shikamaru asked. Someone replied, they said it right away. Let them hurry up. Nara Shikajiu frowned. The Hyuga clan was now the only Hitomi ninja clan in Konoha, and because of Uchiha's defection, their bloodline protection was more strict, which made him feel a little too cautious. Soon, the personnel arrived. 157 Nara Shikahisa took a deep breath and said solemnly. Ninja of the Hyuga family, I need you to check the entire base carefully. 95. Especially pay attention to the least visible things in the base, such as snakes, worms and ants. Yes. N. Please subscribe. Oh, it's the Nara family. It's not surprising that they can have such a keen intuition and reaction. Let's see the results first. 9. Nara Shikaku said again. The Inazuka family, cooperate with the ninjas of the Aburame family, and the ninjas of the Aburame family. Use your parasites to find out the existence of chakra fluctuations around you. Don't be bound by trees, animals or insects, as long as there are, find them out for me. He informed Shi Shangyang of the news, and when Shi Shangyang found out, he just chuckled slightly. And Orochimaru, who got the information about the movement here, was suddenly a little surprised. He didn't expect that the person in charge on Konoha's side would lock the target in a certain range only through clues, which was really unexpected. After a few orders were arranged, the Konoha frontline base moved quickly, in an orderly manner, and it didn't seem too chaotic. Yes. N. Yes. 35 N in the end he said. Nara's ninjas, when they are inspecting, they use shadow imitation to fix a range, so you should be able to understand. Chapter 268 Rolling like results, please subscribe. At Konoha base, Nara Shikahisa was sitting in his seat, quietly waiting for the result. He had always trusted his intuition and hunch, and this time was no exception. Therefore, he was very sure that Tien Jimura's surveillance method must be what he had guessed, using some kind of means he didn't know to monitor, and this method was probably on those snakes, worms, mice and ants. Facts have proved that his intuition and hunch are indeed correct, and the base will soon be rewarded. Lord Lu Ju, I found something, someone came to report. What found? It was discovered by the ninjas of the Aburame clan, who found a bug. Nara Shikahisa's eyes flashed, and he said, I need more specific information to get the ninjas from the Aburame family to come over. Yes, soon. A ninja from the Aburame clan appeared in front of him, knelt down on one knee and said, Lord Lukyu, we found a special kind of bug in the base. Tell me carefully. 99, yes. 35 The ninja of the Aburame clan organized the language, and then said calmly, this kind of insect itself is not much different from ordinary insects, but there are extremely subtle chakras in the body. This kind of chakra cannot be found by ordinary people. Only the insect envoys of our family can sense it, and even if it is an insect envoy, it is difficult to find the characteristics of this insect without special observation methods. Nara Shikahisa frowned. So, how do you think this bug is special? Is it just by the tiny chakra on its body? The other party shook his head and then said, no, because in our observation, we found that this kind of worm is surprisingly similar to the bad worms of our family, but there are obvious differences in some places. Therefore, we suspect that it is very likely that the seed bug is a variant of the parasite. Can you confirm? Nara Shikahisa asked. Yes, it has been confirmed. Advertisement. The man went on to say. This is just a preliminary discovery. If we want to have more complete information, we need to tame this bug before we can get the answer. How long will it take? Nara Shikahisa asked. It will take 10 years at the shortest, the man said. Nara Luju shook his head. It's too late. You can catch this kind of bug for domestication. I will report this to the village. I believe Lord Hokage will agree with you to do so. But now, I need you to give this kind of bug as soon as possible. Is it possible to obtain information on the characteristics of insects? Yes, please give us a day. It is good. The Aburame family is very special in Konoha. As insect messengers, the people in the family do not have a high sense of existence in Konoha, but they are the most staunch supporters of Konoha, but they are separated from the Konoha Hokage family. In addition, it is deeply trusted by Hokage people of all ages. Coupled with their stunts, this time they discovered this kind of bug, and they deserved the first credit. Nara Shikuji is not so eager. Now that he has discovered this aspect, he has been able to confirm that Tien Jimura's monitoring of his side is obviously derived from this kind of bug, but how to monitor it specifically requires more detailed information will give the answer. A day passed quickly, and when the information on the characteristics of this bug was put in front of him, Nara Shihisa was more able to confirm his conjecture. Do the bugs have a special chakra connection to each other? How is it monitored in real time? He couldn't understand this, because there was no specific information, but now that he knew this, the rest would be easy to handle. Follow the notice. The insecticides will begin in the base, and the ninjas of the Aburame family will be in charge, and the ninjas of the Nara family, the Inazuka family, and the Hyuga family will help, and the ninjas of the Sarutobi family will be mobilized to burn the surrounding forest with fire style, an isolation strip. The order was quickly conveyed, and the entire base began to act. The ninjas of the Aburame family took the lead to track the bugs with parasites, and the scent tracking of the Inuzuka family really made them discover lots of bugs. Then there are the Hyuga's ninjas for fixed-point observation, and the Nara's ninjas' shadow imitation techniques, which together really allow them to create a non-monitoring environment for themselves. The scenes that happened here, the Tien village base naturally paid attention to the whole process, but Orochimaru did not organize their actions, but waited for them to wipe out all the surveillance bugs in the base, and then issued the order. Command. Advertisement, send 10 teams, now it's our time to take the initiative. Without real-time monitoring, it's not a serious problem for Orochimaru. Just the white-eyed goggles on Tanemura Ninja's side, they already have the advantage, if they can't get it in this situation. Victory, it can only be said that Tien village has no potential at all. But is it possible? The Konoha base managed to get those surveillance bugs out of the way, but they soon found out what was going on in Tien village, and the news was immediately passed on to Nara Shikuji, who decided to send the base without any hesitation. 30% of people pressed it up. He needed a victory to boost his morale. The 2 losses were not too big, but the blow to the morale of his companions in the base was not small. It was natural to do this at such a time. 30% of the manpower, almost 100 people, and the level of 20 or 30 ninja squads shows how much he attaches importance to this battle. Nara Shikahisa had a good idea, but the result was not as successful as he expected, because they found that even in the defensive battle, their movements were still detected by the opponent in advance. After this kind of information came back, it surprised Nara Shikahisa even more. Can the 6 information be confirmed? Nara Shikahisa frowned and said solemnly. Time passed by, and the roar of the battlefield came from a distance. Everyone in the Konoha base was in a heavy heart. After 2 failures, he, Li Zhao, had clearly realized that the other party was absolutely not an ordinary person. Tien Jikun doesn't seem to be easy to mess with. But even so, they are still full of confidence in their village. The person below was covered in blood, and his voice trembled. Yes, they have seen through our every move. We don't know what to do at all. It seems that they are very clear about our every thought. Unfortunately, this time, this confidence was directly defeated. This time, it brought more pressure to the ninjas on the Konoha side. But at this time, he can't do anything else, he can only wait for the result quietly. Please subscribe. Orochimaru knows how to attack his heart. The first 2 times he completely wiped out the opponent's squads, but this time, he deliberately let people let go, and after these people returned to the Konoha base, they immediately put all their own saw what was said. Chapter 269 Movements in Other Ninja Villages. Please subscribe. How so? Nara Lugia's heart sank this time. He found that he underestimated the other party. Even if he eliminated the bugs in the base, it did not change the result. The hundreds of people who were sent out this time were even more, nearly 80% died, and the people who escaped were also injured and looked terrified, which was obviously abnormal. What was the situation that allowed the people of TNG village to achieve this level? How did they achieve it? This question has been bothering him, and now, the first question before him is how to stabilize the situation. The war between Konoha and Tien village has been going on, and the disadvantage of Konoha's side has become obvious. How long has it been? It has not been 3 days since the confrontation between the 2 sides, but it is such a short period of time. Here, Konoha has lost almost a quarter of its manpower, which is an unbearable result for them. Even with his mind, there is no good solution at this time, because by now he has discovered the most obvious difference between the 2 sides. That's the difference in strength. This conclusion can be easily drawn. Basically, 10 people can make such a judgment based on the record. But Nara Shikahisa looked further. He was now able to decide that the reason why Tien Jimura did not attack directly was because he wanted to bring enough pressure to Konoha's side, and then there must be bigger plans. It is precisely because of this that he is so entangled now. Because he knew that the situation on the front line was very critical now. No matter what choice he made, the outcome of the war between the 2 sides at this time also had a high probability that Konoha would lose. Because of this, Nara Shikahisa couldn't see the basis of victory no matter which aspect he analyzed. Send the order to pass the information here to the village, and tell Lord Hokage that we need reinforcements. And let Lord Hokage prepare for Konoha's failure, Nara Shikahisa said solemnly. He really wanted to hide this conjecture, but in the end he found that perhaps it would be fairest for them to let everyone know about this situation. Advertisement. Sure enough, after the order he issued as the head of the base was known to everyone, the expressions on the faces of the Konoha shinobi fighters in the base became very solemn. They trust Nara Shikahisa very much, and are not surprised by his judgment, because they also found out that there is such a possibility. But guessing is one thing, accepting it is another. And now the primary question in front of them is how to win the next war. On the other side, in the base of Tanokura, Orochimaru has another piece of information in his hands. Heh, it seems that Rock Shinobi and Cloud Shinobi can't hold back anymore, and they're just about to move. What he has in his hand is the intelligence that Tien village has collected about Rock Shinobi and Cloud Shinobi. These 2 shinobi villages have increased their intelligence collection on the Tien village and Konoha wars since before the war began. The war between the 2 villages could not be a small action. After learning that the war between the 2 sides officially started, the small actions of the 2 villages were even more. They obviously have plans to take advantage of the juncture of the war between the 2 sides to seek more benefits for their village. This is the norm for them. but this time, they set their target on Tien-ji-kun. Perhaps it was because of the strength that Konoha showed in the first 3 wars of the ninja world, letting them know that if they faced Konoha directly, they would definitely not gain any obvious benefits on their side, so in this way, it is better to focus on daring. On Tanemura who challenged Konoha, but Rock Shinobi and Cloud Shinobi couldn't get more information from Tien Village, because every spy who entered Tien Village eventually disappeared without a trace. Perhaps, Tien-ji-kun is not as weak as imagined, or it may not be as simple as a small ninja village. Such a conclusion is easy to draw, but it cannot stop, the greed of these 2 shinobi villages. Advertisement compared with these 2 ninja villages, the movement on Sanagakure's side is much smaller, perhaps because it is too far away from the land of Tien. Even if they have ideas in their hearts, there is no good way to implement them. Because even if they want to attack Tien-ji-kun, they must first let people enter the country of Tien, and the country of Tien is located in the middle of the country of wind, separated by a country of fire. If Tien-ji-kun started, then he would have to face the country of fire, which obviously outweighed the gains. Needless to say about Mist Shinobi, they all formed an alliance with Tien Village on the bright side, but in terms of geographical conditions, they are the objects that Cloud Shinobi needs to be vigilant against. The reason why Orochimaru did not launch a general attack directly was to confuse the distance of the ninja world, and then at the critical moment, give Konoha a decisive blow. The order Shi Shangyang gave him was not to start the 4th Ninja World War, but when necessary, he could give Konoha, Rock Shinobi or Cloud Shinobi a ruthless fight, to completely destroy Tien Village. The country of Hoden became famous. In that case, let Konoha's frontline base exist for a while longer. Then Orochimaru ordered that a certain number of people be dispatched every day to harass the Konoha base, not to kill, but to make them feel pain and exhaustion. The ninjas of Tanokura are very happy to perform such tasks. This war is a good opportunity for them to practice their skills. The ninjas of Tanokura who have not experienced many actual combats cherish this opportunity even more. The quota for each mission is basically a situation of looting in the Tianjikan base. Orochimaru didn't say anything at this time, he just made a rotation rule and strived to make every Tanemura ninja walk around the battlefield. As a high-level executive of Tien Village, he is very clear about the disadvantages of Tien Village ninjas, that is, in terms of combat experience, they are indeed inferior to other ninjas in Dawn Ninja Village, because Tien Village does not have a task system, and ninjas also just a profession. Because of this, every battle is very precious to the ninjas of Tanokura. It was in this situation that the Konoha base felt a lot of pressure. Nara Shikahisa clearly sensed the intention of Tien Jamura, but he did not have a good solution, especially when the support in the village was not enough. If there is no arrival, the most important thing is to preserve the base of the front line. That's it, the 2 sides actually had an inexplicable tacit understanding. Today you sent a few teams to harass, and tomorrow I sent a few teams to counterattack, and the 2 sides actually became deadlocked. Chapter 270 Cloud Shinobi can't bear it anymore, please subscribe. Konoha didn't know that Tien Jamura regarded his side as a military training experience, and at the same time, he was glad that the other party didn't directly use all his strength to press him. So in this way, in order not to cause an overreaction from Tano Village, the Konoha base can only choose such a compromise in the end. With the rhythm of Tano Village, the 2 sides fell into a stalemate. But the result is still not satisfactory. The loss has always been on Konoha's side. On the other hand, the ninjas on Tanokura's side suffered very few losses in the battle. This has always puzzled Nara Shikahisa. Also worried. He was worried that if this continued, the people on the frontline base would lose their fighting spirit, which would be the most deadly for a village. The news has been sent back to the village, and at the same time, the village has also responded, and will send reinforcements to come as soon as possible. The order to the frontline base is that no matter what, it must not fail, and the pressure on the frontline must be blocked until reinforcements arrive. But this kind of situation made Nara Shikahisa see no hope. After these days of war, he had already seen Tien Jamura's purpose. Combined with the other party's approach, he always felt that the other party had a deeper plan. Make minus a point of concern for him. If Konoha's frontline base collapsed, it would be fine, at least some useful information could be analyzed from this, but now Tien Village is actively stalemate with Konoha. This approach is very intriguing. What he didn't know was that while the stalemate on Konoha's side, Tanemura's power on the Yuno country side had detected Cloud Shinobi's movement. Cloud Shinobi is worthy of being the most martial village in the ninja world. This is a good way to say it, but a bad way to say that is that Cloud Shinobi is completely a ninja village composed of a group of lunatics. In their opinion, they should be the most powerful in the ninja world. Ninja Village is right, it should replace Konoha's position, and even conquer the ninja world. Don't doubt, they really think so, and in the first 3 Ninja World Wars, they have always upheld this concept to launch wars. So this time, after seeing the war between Tien Village and Konoha, their first thought was not to be vigilant, but to think that this was a good opportunity. They eagerly wanted to know what kind of confidence Tien Village had. Able to face Konoha alone, and stalemate in the frontline war for so long without defeat. Advertisement is Konoha's old enemy. Cloud Shinobi knows too well how powerful Konoha is, and it is precisely because of this that they hope to have the opportunity to defeat Konoha, seize their land and interests, and thus strengthen themselves. Therefore, when they see a small ninja village that can resist Konoha alone, all they can see is the power represented by this small ninja village. If they can snatch this power over, it is very likely that they will become Cloud Shinobi defeats Konoha's reach. They thought so and did so at the same time, so at the stage of the stalemate between Tien Village and Konoha on the front line, they directly sent people to enter the country of Tang, intending to enter the country of Tien by way of the country of Tang, so as to fight against the village of Tien. Start a war. Look, this kind of thing is absolutely impossible to do in other ninja villages. Even Rock Shinobi, who also coveted Konoha, could not make such a reaction, but Cloud Shinobi did it without hesitation. It's just that they don't know that the country of Tang is no longer the country of Tang during the Third Ninja World War. The current country of Soup has been completely controlled by the village of Tien, and the village of Tien is stationed here with a ninja army with a size of 500 people. These ninja army and Tien village have a deep connection, and the personnel rotate every 6 months. Has maintained a strong fighting force. At the same time, any new research results on Tien village will also be used on the ninja army on the side of the country in the first place. Similar treatment places include the country of grass, the country of river and stone. These small countries have become the power of the country to divide the 5 big countries, so it is natural to be fully mastered. In fact, even the Kingdom of Frost has been secretly mastered by Tien Village Master, but because of the border between the Kingdom of Frost and the Kingdom of Thunder, Tien Village has done more concealment in this regard. Aroused the idea of the Land of Thunder. This time, the Kingdom of Thunder sent people into the Kingdom of Soup. When their people entered the Kingdom of Frost, they were discovered by the people of TNG Village for the first time, and even the whole process was clearly recorded. It was something that Cloud Shinobi would never have dreamed of. This time, Cloud Shinobi sent more than 300 people into the country of Soup, which shows that Cloud Shinobi attaches great importance to this operation, and is directly rushing to start a war without considering the consequences at all. Due to the war, the power of Tien Village on the other side of the Land of Soup is now also handed over to Orochimaru. Even though the two places are far apart, Orochimaru can remotely control it in real time, and it will not be troublesome to issue commands. It is the advantage of Tien Village. Katakana middle. Seeking flowers katakana middle. Advertisement. And because of this, Orochimaru didn't plan to attack Konoha's frontline base, because compared to Konoha, directly giving Cloud Shinobi a ruthless attack would give Tien Nomura a stronger reputation. Orochimaru is very aware of Shi Shangyang's thoughts, and knows that Shi Shangyang's current positioning of TNG village is to become another Nin village outside the 5 Dalton's Nin villages, so the first thing to do is to let the 5 headed by Konoha a big ninja village felt dread. What's more shocking to be able to defeat Cloud Shinobi's leading team while resisting Konoha? Can't provoke the 4th Ninja World War, but let Tien Nomura's reputation resonate in the ninja world. This kind of thing may not be able to be done well by others, but with Orochimaru's ability, as well as his influence on today's judging the situation in the ninja world, it is really not difficult to do this. Of course, Shi Shangyang could do it too, but he was the leader, so he couldn't do everything by himself, and his subordinates would be useless. Because of this, Shi Shangyang decided to put Orochimaru in charge of this. And Orochimaru did not let him down. As soon as he noticed Cloud Shinobi's movement, he directly ordered the garrison of the Tang dynasty to attack the people on Cloud Shinobi's side. There is no doubt that Orochimaru did not do any tricks of reconnaissance and probing this time, because it is not useful. When dealing with a former enemy like Cloud Shinobi village, Orochimaru will not show mercy at all. Given the superiority of intelligence, if he can't do it. If he directly defeats Cloud Shinobi's leading force, then he, the commander, will simply not do it. Compared with the small fights with the Konoha frontline, the battle in the country of Tang is the real war. Cloud Shinobi did not expect that not long after he entered the Land of Soup, he was actively attacked by Tien Village, which made them extremely angry, but also very horrified. Especially when they felt that the Tien Village ninjas were constantly seeing through their details, it made them feel a kind of panic.